Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. We are going to try and finish The Hunger Games, Book 1, chapters 21 through 27. So hopefully we can finish this, and then we can get to the second book. The new movie is coming out in November, so hopefully we can get up to Sunset on the Reaping from now until then. Thank you all so much for watching last night's stream, the cool little marbling deal. It was my first marbling um, stream on TikTok, so it was really nice, very chill. Made about like 13 papers. um, but no, yeah, without further ado, we are going to get into it here. Well, there's going to be some ado. Um, about maybe 2 more minutes. Wait until Twitch has their, beginning ads to go through. And then, yeah, we will jump into it. So stay tuned. Give me like 2 minutes. Alrighty. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Ads are about to finish, and we are going to reveal the scene. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me pull up the dealio. We had what is it called? We had a dramatization, right? We had a dramatization of the book. Very feature presentation. Hold on, let me see. Yeah. Okay. We were at like. Okay, we're gonna see. We're gonna have to double check here, because. Hold on. Okay, scene, right? We'll bring out Buddy. See, we're gonna push him out here, right? He's here, and then hold on. We're gonna bring out Buddy here, right? Everyone can see him. Yes. And then, hold on, is it this? Nope, that's the thing. This guy, right? And then we're gonna show. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna have this shown right here. I want to say. I don't know where we are in terms of the dramatization. But we are going to continue here. So, Unknown Orphic, hello. Hello. Welcome everyone joining in. I am going to read the last couple of chapters of The Hunger Games. As you can see here, I have my buddy here, Crunch Cat, on my face. As you can see, hold on. I have my little buddy here to wheel out the cool little feature presentation. Right. So kind of like wheeling him out. And then if he turns it on, boop, it's the Hunger Games but better. Parody. Yeah. So I have that as a dramatization. That's so cute. Yeah. So hopefully we have this on correctly. I kind of forgot where we are at in the video, the movie, if you will. So let me just kind of backtrack here. Oh, okay, yeah. They are in the cave right now. They're in the cave. Katniss and Peeta. They're in the cave. Repeat. Yeah, they're in the cave. And then we have about like 6 chapters left. I think. Let's see. Hold on. We can bump it up a little bit back. Yeah. Right.
Oh, wait. Do you fall asleep already?
I have to shit. I can't shit. God, I can't shit. I need to shit.
Okay. So yeah, we're at that part, right? Where Peeta can't shit. So little buddy is gone. Oh, thank you for the rose, and thank you for the 100 likes. So yeah, we are going to continue on reading the Hunger Games. And just gonna see and guess what where we are at in the dramatization. So yeah, without further ado, finally, we're into chapter 21. Hold on, a little bit of hype here. Right. There we go. Okay. All right, sick. Thank you for the 250 likes. Thank you. In the remaining hours before nightfall, I gather rocks and do my best to camouflage the opening of the cave. It's a slow and arduous process, but after a lot of sweating and shifting things around, I'm pretty pleased with my work. The cave now appears to be part of a larger pile of rocks, like so many in the vicinity. I can still crawl into PETA through a small opening, but it's undetectable from the outside. That's good, because I'll need to share that sleeping bag again tonight. Also, if I don't make it back from the feast, PETA will be hidden but not entirely imprisoned. Although I doubt he can hang on much longer without medicine, if I die at the feast, District 12 isn't likely to have a victor. I make a meal out of the smaller, bonier fish that inhabit the stream down here, fill every water container and purify it, and clean my weapons. I've 9 arrows left in all. I debate leaving the knife with PETA so he'll have some protection while I'm gone, but there's really no point. He was right about camouflage being his final defense, but I still might have use for the knife. Who knows what I'll encounter? Hell yeah. Yeah. We're just straight up reading it. Let's see. Here are some things I'm fairly certain of. That at least Cato, Clove, and Thresh will be on hand when the feast starts. I'm not sure about Foxface, since direct confrontation isn't her style or her forte. She's even smaller than I am, and unarmed unless she's picked up some weapons recently. She'll probably be hanging somewhere nearby, seeing what she can scavenge. But the other 3, I'm going to have my hands full. My ability to kill at a distance is my greatest asset, but I know I'll have to go right into the thick of things to get that backpack. The one with the number 12 on it that Claudius Templesmith mentioned. I watch the sky, hoping for one less opponent at dawn, but nobody appears tonight. Tomorrow there will be faces up there. Feasts always result in fatalities. Let's see. I crawl into the cave, secure my glasses, and curl up next to PETA. Luckily, I had that good long sleep today. I have to stay awake. I don't really think anyone will attack our cave tonight, but I can't risk missing the dawn. So cold, so bitterly cold tonight. As if the game makers have sent an infusion of frozen air across the arena, which may be exactly what they've done. I lay next to PETA in the bag, trying to absorb every bit of his fever heat. It's strange to be so physically close to someone who's so distant. PETA might as well be back in the capital, or in District 12, or on the moon right now. He'd be no harder to reach. I've never felt lonelier since the games began. Oh, Froshin. Okay. Alright. Yeah, Froshin. Just accept it. Just accept it will be a bad night, I tell myself. I try not to, but I can't help thinking of my mother and Prim, wondering if they'll sleep a wink tonight. At this late stage in the games with an important event like the feast, school will probably be cancelled. My family can either watch on that static-filled old clunker, almost clanker, of a television at home, or join the crowds in the square to watch on the big clear screens. They'll have privacy at home, but support in the square. People will give them a kind word, a bit of food if they can spare it. I wonder if the baker has sought them out, especially now that PETA and I are a team, and made good on his promise to keep my sister's belly full. Spirits must be running high in District 12. We so rarely have anyone to root for at this point in the games. Surely people are excited about PETA and me, especially now that we're together. If I close my eyes, I can imagine their shouts at the screens, urging us on. I can see their faces, Greasy, Say, and Madge, and even the peacekeepers who bide my meat, cheering for us. And Gale, I know him, I hope so. He won't be shouting and cheering, but he'll be watching every moment, every twist and turn, and willing me to come home. I wonder if he's hoping that PETA makes it as well. Gale's not my boyfriend, sure. Sure. No, yeah. Right. Of course, right. No. Yeah, Gale's not your boyfriend. But would he be if I opened that door? He talked about us running away together. Was that just a practical calculation of our chances of survival away from the district? Or something more? Hey now. People joining in, I'm reading The Hunger Games, Chapter 1. Or Book 1. We're kind of near the finale. I wonder what he makes of all this kissing. Oh, there's plural. Wait, they've been more than one kiss. Through a crack in the rocks, I watch the moon cross the sky. At what I judge to be about 3 hours before dawn, I begin final preparations. I'm careful to leave PETA with water and the medical kit right beside him. Nothing else can be of much use if I don't return. And even these would only prolong his life a short time. After some debate, I strip him of his jacket and zip it on over my own. He doesn't need it. Not now in the sleeping bag with his fever, and during the day, if I'm not there to remove it, he'll be roasting in it. Sorry, my earbud is goofy as hell right now. My hands are already stiff from cold, so I take Rue's spare pair of socks, cut holes for my fingers and thumbs, and pull them on. It helps anyway. I fill her small pack with some food, a water bottle, and bandages, tuck the knife in my belt, and get my bow and arrows. I'm about to leave when I remember the importance of sustaining the star-crossed lover routine, and I lean over and give PETA a long, lingering kiss. I imagine the teary sighs emanating from the capital and pretend to brush away a tear of my own. Then I squeeze through the opening in the rocks out into the night. My breath makes small white clouds as it hits the air. It's as cold as November night at home. One where I've slipped into the woods, lantern in hand, to join Gale at some prearranged place where we'll sit, bundled together, sipping herb tea from metal flasks wrapped in quilting, hoping game will pass our way as the morning comes. Oh, Gale, I think. If only you had my back now. Oh, Gale. I move as fast as I dare. The glasses are quite remarkable, but I still sorely miss having the use of my left ear. I don't know what the explosion did, but it damaged something deep and irreparable. Never mind. If I get home, I'll be so stinking rich, I'll be able to pay someone to do my hearing. Yes. The woods always look different at night. Even with the glasses, everything has an unfamiliar slant to it. As if the daytime trees and flowers and stones had gone to bed and sent slightly more ominous versions of themselves to take their places. I don't try anything tricky like taking a new route. I make my way back to the stream and follow the same path back to Rue's hiding place near the lake. Along the way, I see no sign of another tribute, not a puff of breath, not a quiver of a branch. Either I'm the first to arrive or the others positioned themselves at last night. Blech. There's still more than an hour, maybe 2, when I wriggle into the underbrush and wait for the blood to begin to flow. I chew a few mint leaves, my stomach isn't up for much more. Thank goodness I have PETA's jacket as well as my own. If not, I'd be forced to move around to stay warm. The sky turns a misty morning gray, and still there's no sign of the other tributes. It's not surprising, really. Everyone has distinguished themselves either by strength or deadliness or cunning. Do they suppose, I wonder, that I have PETA with me? I doubt Foxface and Thresh even know he was wounded. All the better if they think he's covering me when I go for the backpack. Oh. Okay. Oh, hell yeah, 420 likes, that's what's up. Hell yeah. But where is it? The arena has lightened enough for me to remove my glasses. I can hear the morning birds singing. Isn't it time? For a second, I'm panicked that I'm at the wrong location. But no, I'm certain I remember Claudius Templesmith. What a crazy name, by the way. Claudius Templesmith. Specifying the cornucopia. And there it is. And here I am. So where's my feast? Where's my food? Where is it? Just as the first ray of sun glints off the golden cornucopia, there's a disturbance on the plain. The ground before the mouth of the horn splits in two, and a round table with a snowy white cloth rises into the arena. On the table sits 4 backpacks, 2 large black ones with the numbers 2 and 11, and a medium-sized green one with the number 5, and a tiny orange one. Really, I could carry it around my wrist. That must be marked with a 12. Haley, thank you for the heart. I'm reading The Hunger Games. The table has just clicked into place when a figure darts out of the cornucopia, snags the green backpack, and speeds off. Foxface. She has a name, but it's Foxface. Foxface. Leave it to her to come up with such a clever and risky idea. Oh, Foxface. The rest of us are still poised around the plane, sizing up the situation, and she's got hers. She's got us trapped too, because no one wants to chase her down, not while their own pack sits so vulnerable on the table. Foxface must have purposefully left the other packs alone, knowing that to steal one without her number would definitely bring on a pursuer. That should have been my strategy. It should have been me! It should have been me! By the time I've worked through the emotions of surprise, admiration, anger, jealousy, and frustration, I'm watching that reddish mane of hair disappear into the trees well out of shooting range. Huh. I'm always dreading the others, but maybe Foxface is the real opponent here. She's cost me time too, because by now it's clear that I must get to the table next. Anyone who beats me to it will easily scoop up my pack and be gone. Without hesitation, I sprint for the table. I can sense the emergence of danger before I see it. Fortunately, the first knife comes whizzing in on my right side so I can hear it, and I'm able to deflect it with my bow. I turn, drawing back the bowstring, and send an arrow straight at Clove's heart. Oh my god! She turns just enough to avoid a fatal hit. Damn. But the point punctures her upper left arm. Unfortunately, she throws with her right, but it's enough to slow her down for a few moments. Having to pull the arrow from her arm, taking the severity of the wound, I keep moving, positioning the next arrow automatically, as only someone who has hunted for years can do. Oh shit. Oh fuck. I'm at the table now, my fingers closing in over the tiny orange backpack. My hand slips between the straps and I yank it up on my arm. It's really too small to fit in any part of my anatomy, and I'm turning to fire again when the second knife catches me in the forehead. It slices above my right eyebrow. Damn. Opening a gash that sends a gush running down my face, blinding my eye, filling my mouth with the sharp metallic taste of my own blood. I stagger backward, but still manage to send my readied arrow in the general direction of my assailant. I know as it leaves my hands, it will miss. And then Clove slams into me, knocking me flat on my back, pinning my shoulders to the ground with her knees. Oh no. What is Katniss gonna do with all these books in the future? Is she doomed? This is it, I think. It sure is. And in hope for Prim's sake, it will be fast. But Clove means to savor the moment. Even feels she has time. No doubt Cato is somewhere nearby, guarding her, waiting for Thresh and possibly Peeta. Where's your boyfriend, District 12? Still hanging on? She asks. Well, as long as we're talking, I'm alive. He's out there now, hunting Cato. I snarl at her. Then I scream at the top of my lungs. Peeta! Like, Lois Griffin. Clove jams her fist into my windpipe, very effectively cutting off my voice. but her head's whipping from side to side, and I know for a moment she's at least considering I'm telling the truth. Since no PETA appears to save me, she turns back to me. Liar, she says with a grin. He's nearly dead. Kato knows where he cut him. You've probably got him strapped up in some tree while you try to keep his heart going. What's the pretty little backpack? That medicine for Loverboy? Too bad he'll never get it. Clove opens her jacket. It's lined with an impressive array of knives. She carefully selects an almost dainty-looking number with a cruel curved blade. I promised Kato if he'd let me have you, I'd give the audience a good show. I'm struggling now in an effort to unseat her, but it's no use. She's too heavy, rude, and her lock on me too tight. Forget it, District 12. We're going to kill you, just like we did your pathetic little ally. What was her name? The one who hopped around in the trees? Rue? Well, first Rue, then you, and then I think we'll just let nature take care of Loverboy. How does that sound? Clove asks. Now, where to start? Oh my god. This is evil. Where was I? She carelessly wipes away the blood from my wound with her jacket sleeve. For a moment she surveys my face, tilting it from side to side as if it's a block of wood, and she's deciding exactly what pattern to carve on it. I attempt to bite her hand, but she grabs the hair on the top of my head, forcing me back to the ground. I think, she almost purrs, that's weird, I think we'll start with your mouth. I clamp my teeth together as she teasingly traces the outline of my lips with the tip of the blade. Oh, it's a Joker moment. You know how I got these scars? I won't close my eyes. The comment about Rue has filled me with fury. Enough fury, I think, to die with some dignity. As my last act of defiance, I will stare her down as long as I can see, which will probably not be an extended period of time, but I will stare her down. I will not cry out. I will die in my own small way, undefeated. Not bad. Solid. Yes, I don't think you'll have much use for your lips anymore. Want to blow Loverboy one last kiss? She asks. I work up a mouthful of blood and saliva and spit out her face. She flushes with rage. All right, then, let's get started. I brace myself for the agony that's sure to follow, but as I feel the tip open the first cut at my lip, some great force yanks Clove from my body, and then she's screaming. I'm too stunned at first, too unable to process what has happened. Has PETA somehow come to my rescue? Have the game makers sent in some wild animal to add to the fun? As a hovercraft inexplicably plucked her from the air, plucked into the air. But when I push myself up on my numb arms, I see it's none of the above. Clove is dangling a foot off the ground, imprisoned in Thresh's arms. I let out a gasp, seeing him like that, towering over me, holding Clove like a rag doll. I remember him as big, but he seems more massive, more powerful than I even recall. If anything, he seems to have gained weight in the arena. That's rude. He flips Clove around and flings her onto the ground. When she shouts, I jump, never having heard him speak above a mutter. What did you do to that little girl? You kill her? Clove was scrambling backward on all fours like a frantic insect, too shocked to even call for Kato. No, it wasn't me. You said her name. I heard you. You kill her? Another thought brings a fresh wave of rage to his features. You cut her up like you were going to cut up this girl here? No, I... Clove sees the stone, about the size of a small loaf of bread, in Thresh's hand and loses it. Kato! She screeches. Kato! Clove! I hear Kato's answer, but he's too far away and can tell that much to do her any good. What was he doing? Trying to get Foxface or PETA? Or had he been lying in wait for Thresh and just badly misjudged his location? Thresh brings the rock down hard against Clove's temple. It's not bleeding, but I can see the dent in her skull, and I know that she's a goner. Holy shit. Okay. There's still life in her now, though. In the rapid rise and fall of her chest, the low moan escaping her lips. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Fuck. Oh no. These are children, by the way. These are children. When Thresh whirls around on me, the rock raised, I know it's no good to run. When my bow is empty, the last loaded arrow having gone in Clove's direction, I'm trapped in the glare of his strange golden brown eyes. What'd she mean about Rue being your ally? We teamed up, blew up the supplies. I tried to save her, I did, but she got there first. District 1, I say. Maybe if he knows I helped Rue, he won't choose some slow, sadistic end for me. Oh. And you killed him? He demands. Yes, I killed him, and I buried her in flowers, I say, and I sing her to sleep. Tears spring in my eyes. The tension, the fight goes out of me at the memory, and I'm overwhelmed by Rue, and the pain in my head, and the fear of Thresh, and the moaning of the dying girl a few feet away. Jesus Christ. To sleep? Thresh says gruffly. To death. I sang until she died, I say. Your district. They sent me bread. My hand reaches up, but not for an arrow that I know I'll never reach, just to wipe my nose. Do it fast, okay, Thresh? Conflicting emotions cross Thresh's face. He lowers the rock and points at me, almost accusingly. Just this one time, I let you go. For the little girl. You and me, we've even then. No more owed. You understand? I nod because I do understand. About owing. About hating it. I understand that if Thresh wins, he'll have to go back and face a district that has already broken all the rules to thank me. And he is breaking the rules to thank me too. I understand that, for the moment, Thresh is not going to smash in my skull. Clove! Cato's voice is much nearer now. I can tell by the pain in it that he sees her on the ground. You better run now, Fire Girl, says Thresh. I don't need to be told twice. I flip over my feet and dig into the hard packing earth as I run away from Thresh and Clove and the sound of Cato's voice. Only when I reach the woods I do turn back for an instant. Thresh and both large backpacks are vanishing over the edge of the plain into the area I've never seen before. Cato kneels beside Clove, spear in hand, begging her to stay with him. In a moment, he will realize it's futile. She can't be saved. Damn. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. I crash into the trees, repeatedly swiping away the blood that's pouring into my eye. Fleeing in like the wild, wounded creature I am. After a few minutes I hear the cannon, and I know that Clove has died, that Cato will be on one of our trails, either Thresh's or mine. I'm seized with terror, weak from my head wound, shaking. I load an arrow, but Cato can throw that spear almost as far as I can shoot. Only one thing calms me down. Thresh has Cato's backpack containing the thing he needs desperately. If I had to bet, Cato headed out after Thresh, not me. Still, I don't slow down when I reach the water. I plunge right in, boots still on, and flounder downstream. I pull off Rue's socks that I've been using for gloves and press them into my forehead, trying to staunch the flow of blood, but they're soaked in minutes. Somehow, I make it back to the cave. I squeeze through the rocks. In the dampened light, I pull the little orange backpack from my arm, cut open the clasp, and dump the contents on the ground. One slim box containing one hypodermic needle. Without hesitation, I jammed the needle into Peeta's arm and slowly pressed down on the plunger. My hands go to my head and then drop to my lap, slick with blood. The last thing I remember is an exquisitely beautiful green and silver moth landing on the curve of my wrist. Chapter 22. Dude. Okay. Let's see how the dramatization happens. Let's bring out little guy. Alright, he's gonna press play.
Is this like a one per person thing, or?
Right, Fox.
You know what? Actually, this week has been hell. I'm just gonna take 2. Sometimes you have to treat yourself, right?
Where's Loverboy, huh? Oh, I see. You were gonna help him, right? Aw, well that's sweet. It's too bad what happened to your little friend. What was her name? Oh, Rue? Yeah, we killed her.
Oh.
Now we're gonna kill you. He's right behind me, isn't he? Ah, shit, I'm caught. Oh.
Did you kill Rue?
No, get out! Get out!
Did you?
No!
Just this once, 12. For Rue.
Okay, let's see.
Peter,
You left.
I got your medicine.
Okay. Oh, dang. Yeah. Okay. So they're back in the cave, right? Chapter 22. And then we're back to this. Okay. The sound of rain drumming on the roof of our house gently pulls me toward consciousness. I fight to return to sleep, though, wrapped in a warm cocoon of blankets, safe at home. I'm vaguely aware that my head aches. Possibly I have the flu, and this is why I'm allowed to stay in bed, even though I can tell I've been asleep a long time. My mother's hand strokes my cheek, and I don't push it away as I would in wakefulness, never wanting her to know how much I crave that gentle touch. Touch-starved, oh, how much I miss her, even though I still don't trust her. Oh, then there's a voice, the wrong voice, not my mother's, and I'm scared. Hold on. Water. Hydration. Oh my god, thank you for the 1,000 likes. Thank you. Katniss, it says. Katniss, can you hear me? My eyes open and the sense of security vanishes. I'm not home. Not with my mother. I'm in a dim, chilly cave, my bare feet freezing despite the cover, the air tainted with the unmistakable smell of blood. The haggard, pale face of a boy slides into view. And after an initial jolt of alarm, I feel better. Peeta. Aww. Uh-oh, she's starting to like boy. Hey, he says. Good to see your eyes again. How long have I been out? I ask. Not sure. I woke up yesterday evening. Then you were lying next to me in a very scary pool of blood. He says. I think it's stopped finally, but I wouldn't sit up or anything. I gingerly lift my hand to my head and find it bandaged. This simple gesture leaves me weak and dizzy. Peeta holds a bottle to my lips and I drink thirstily. You're better, I say. Much better. Whatever you shot into my arm did the trick, he says. By this morning, almost all the swelling in my leg was gone. He doesn't seem angry about my tricking him, drugging him and running off to the feast. Maybe I'm just too beaten up and I'll hear about it later when I'm stronger. But for the moment, he's all gentleness. Oh, he's all gentleness. Oh. Did you eat, I ask? I'm sorry to say I gobbled down 3 pieces of that grusling before I realized it might have to last a while. Don't worry, I'm back on a strict diet, he says. No, it's good. You need to eat. I'll go hunting soon, I say. Not too soon, alright, he says. You just let me take care of you for a while. I don't really seem to have much choice. Peeta feeds me bites of grusling and raisins, and make me drink plenty of water. He rubs some warmth back into my feet and wraps them in his jacket before tucking the sleeping bag back up around my chin. Your boots and socks are still damp, and the weather's not helping much, he says. There's a clap of thunder, and I see lightning electrify the sky through an opening in the rocks. Rain drips through several holes in the ceiling, but PETA has built a sort of canopy over my head and upper body by wedging the square of plastic into the rocks above me. I wonder what brought on this storm. I mean, who's the target, says PETA. Kato and Thresh, I say without thinking. Foxface will be in her den somewhere, and Clove, she cut me, and then my voice trails off. I know Clove's dead. I saw her in the sky last night, he says. Did you kill her? No. Thresh broke her skull with a rock, I say. Lucky he didn't catch you too, says PETA. The memory of the feast returns full force and I feel sick. He did, but he let me go. Then, of course, I have to tell him about things I've kept to myself because he was too sick to ask and I wasn't ready to relive anyway. Like the explosion in my ear and Ruse dying and the boy from District 1 and the bread. All of which leads to what happened with Thresh and how he was paying off a debt of sorts. He let you go because he didn't want to owe you anything? Asks PETA in disbelief. Yes, I don't expect to understand it. I don't expect you to understand it. You've always had enough. But if you'd live in the seam, I wouldn't have to explain, I say. Oh. I see. A little bit of sass. So we know that Katniss is feeling better because of her level of sass. And don't try. Obviously, I'm too dim to get it, he says. Oh, shit. Okay, they're feeling better. They're both kind of, neck and neck. All right, they're feeling healthy to be catty towards each other. In the Hunger Games. It's like the bread. How I never seem to get over owing you for that, I say. The bread? What? From when we were kids, he says. You're still kids, by the way. You're still kids. I think we can let that go. I mean, you just brought me back from the dead. But you didn't know me. We had never even spoken. Besides, it's the first gift that's always the hardest to pay back. I wouldn't even have been here to do it if you hadn't helped me then, I say. Why did you anyway? Why? You know why, PETA says. I give my head a slight painful shake. Haymitch said you would take a lot of convincing. Haymitch? I ask. What's he got to do with it? Nothing, PETA says. So, Kato and Thresh, huh? I guess it's too much to hope that they'll simultaneously destroy each other. But the thought only upsets me. I think we would like Thresh. I think he'd be our friend back in District 12, I say. Let's hope Kato kills him so we don't have to, says PETA grimly. I don't want Kato to kill Thresh at all. I don't want anyone else to die. But this is absolutely not the kind of thing that victors go around saying in the arena. Despite my best efforts, I can feel tears starting to pool in my eyes. PETA looks at me in concern. What is it? Are you in a lot of pain? I give him another answer because it is equally true, but can be taken as a brief moment of weakness instead of a terminal one. Ugh. Thank you for the heart, me. Thank you. And the roses. Thank you. I want to go home, PETA, I say plaintively, like a small child. You kind of are a small child. You will, I promise, he says, and bends over to give me a kiss. I want to go home too, I say. Tell you what, you go back to sleep and dream of home, and you'll be there for real before you know it, he says, okay? I'm sorry, it's the fucking Hunger Games, bro. It's the fucking Hunger Games. Just dream of home and, you'll be there, right? Okay, I whisper. Wake me if you need me to keep watch. I'm good and rested. Thanks to you and Haymitch. Besides, who knows how long this will last, he says. What does he mean? The storm? The brief respite? It brings us? The games themselves? I don't know, but I'm too sad and tired to ask. It's evening when PETA wakes me again. The rain has turned into a downpour, sending streams of water through our ceiling where earlier they had been only drips. PETA has placed the broth pot under the worst one and repositioned the plastic to deflect most of it from me. I feel a bit better, able to sit up without getting too dizzy, and I'm absolutely famished. So is PETA. It's clear he's been waiting for me to wake up to eat and is eager to get started. There's not much left. 2 pieces of grusling, a small mishmash of roots, and a handful of dried fruit. Should we try and ration it? Pete asks. No, let's just finish it. The grusling's getting old anyway, and the last thing we need to do is get sick of spoiled food. I say, dividing the food into 2 equal piles. We try and eat slowly, but we're both so hungry we've done it in a couple of minutes. My stomach is in no way satisfied. Tomorrow's a hunting day, I say. I won't be much help with that, PETA says. I've never hunted before. I'll kill and you cook, I say, and you can always gather. I wish there was some sort of bread bush out there, says PETA. The bread they sent me from District 11 was still warm, I say with a sigh. Here, chew these. I hand him a couple of mint leaves and pop a few in my mouth. It's hard to even see the projection in the sky, but it's clear enough to know there were no more deaths today. So Kato and Thresh haven't had it out yet. Where did Thresh go? I mean, what's on the far side of the circle, I ask PETA. A field. As far as you can see, it's full of grasses as high as my shoulders. I don't know, maybe some of them are green. There are patches of different color, but there are no paths, says PETA. I bet some of them are green. I bet Thresh knows which ones too, I say. Did you go in there? No. Nobody really wanted to track Thresh down in that grass. It has a sinister feeling to it. Every time I look at the field, all I can think of are hidden things, snakes and rabid animals and quicksand, PETA says. There could be anything in there. I don't say so, but PETA's words remind me of the warnings they give us about not going beyond the fence in District 12. I can't help, for a second, comparing him with Gale, who would see that field as a potential source of food as well as a threat. Thresh certainly did. It's not that PETA's soft exactly, and he's proved he's not a coward. But there are things you don't question too much, I guess. When your home always smells like baking bread, whereas Gale's questions everything, what would PETA think of the irreverent banter that passes between us as we break the law each day? Would it shock him, the things we say about Panem, Gale's tirades against the Capitol? Maybe there is a bread bush in that field, I say. Maybe that's why Thresh looks better fed now that when we started the games. Either that or he got very generous sponsors, says PETA. I wonder what he'd have to do to get Hamish to send us some... I wonder what we'd have to do to get Hamish to send us some bread. What should they do? Hey, Rico, how's it going? I raise my eyebrows before I remember he doesn't know about the message Hamish sent us a couple of nights ago. 1 kiss equals 1 pot of broth. It's not the sort of thing I can blurt out. To say my thoughts aloud would be tipping off the audience that the romance has been fabricated to play on their sympathies, and that would result in no food at all. Somehow, believably, I've got to get things back on track. Something simple to start with. I reach out and take his hand. Well, he probably used up a lot of resources helping me knock you out, I say mischievously. Mischievously. Yeah, about that, says PETA, entwining his fingers in mine. Don't try something like that again. Or what? I ask. Or he can't think of anything good. Just give me a minute. What's the problem? I say with a grin. The problem is we're both still alive, which only reinforces the idea in your head that you did the right thing, says PETA. I did do the right thing, I say. No, just don't, Katniss. His grip tightens, hurting my hand, and there's real anger in his voice. don't die for me. You won't be doing me any favors, alright? I'm startled by his intensity, but recognize an excellent opportunity for getting food. Okay. So I try to keep it up. Maybe I did it for myself, Peeta. Did you ever think of that? Maybe you aren't the only one who worries about what it would be like if I fumble. Me. I fumble. I'm not as smooth with words as Peeta. And while I was talking, the idea of actually losing Peeta hit me again, and I realized how much I don't want him to die. Oh, ooh. Okay. I realize how much I don't want him to die, and it's not about the sponsors, and it's not about what will happen back home, and it's not just that I don't want to be alone. It's him. I do not want to lose the boy with the bread. Rule number 1, never lose a boy that makes bread, bro. Like, never lose them. Alright, bread makers, better than breadwinners. Alright? The ones that make bread, you keep. Katniss knows. Like, she's straight up digging for bread. Alright. It's survival, I understand. But, damn. It's not about this or that. It's that he makes bread, man. I understand. If what, Katniss? He says softly. I wish I could pull the shutters closed, blocking out this moment from the prying eyes of Panem. Even if it means losing food. Whatever I'm feeling, it's not one's business, but mine. Oh. Okay. True. That's exactly the kind of topic Haymitch told me to steer clear of. I say evasively, although Haymitch never said anything of the kind. In fact, he's probably cursing me out right now for dropping the ball during such an emotionally charged moment, but Peeta somehow catches it. Then I'll just have to fill in the blanks myself, he says, and moves in to me. This is the first kiss that we're both fully aware of. Neither of us hobbling by sickness or pain or simply unconsciousness. Our lips neither burning with fever or icy cold. This is the first kiss where I actually feel stirring inside my chest, warm and curious. This is the first kiss that makes me want another. Ooh, okay. But I don't get it. Okay, sick. Well, I do get a second kiss, but it's just a light one on the tip of my nose because Peeta's been distracted. I think your wound is bleeding again. Come on, lie down. It's bedtime anyway, he says. My socks are dry enough to wear now. I make Peeta put on his jacket back on. The damp cold seems to cut right down to my bones, so he must be half frozen. I insist on taking the first watch too, although neither of us think it's likely anyone will come in this weather. But he won't agree unless I'm in the bag too, and I'm shivering so hard that it's pointless to object. In stark contrast to the 2 nights ago, when I felt Peeta was a million miles away, I'm struck by the immediacy now. As we settle in, he pulls my head down to use his arm as a pillow. The other rests protectively over me, even when he goes to sleep. No one has held me like this in such a long time. Since my father died and I stopped trusting my mother, no one else's arms have made me feel this safe. Oh, bro. Doll. Hold on. Let's see. With the aid of the glasses, I lie watching the drips of water splatter on the cave floor. Rhythmic and lulling. Several times I drift off briefly and then snap awake, guilty and angry with myself. After 3 or 4 hours, I can't help it. I have to rouse Peeta because I can't keep my eyes open. He doesn't seem to mind. Tomorrow, when it's dry, I'll find us a place so high in the trees we can both sleep in peace, I promise, as I drift off. But tomorrow is no better in terms of weather. The deluge continues as if the game makers are intent on washing us away. The thunder is so powerful it seems to shake the ground. Pete is considering heading out anyway to scavenge for food, but I tell him in the storm it would be pointless. He won't be able to see 3 feet in front of his face, and he'll only end up getting soaked to the skin for his troubles. He knows I'm right, but the gnawing in our stomachs is becoming painful. The day drags on, turning into evening, and there's no break in the weather. Haymitch is our only hope, but nothing is forthcoming. Either from lack of money, everything will cost an exorbitant amount, or because he's dissatisfied with our performance. Probably the latter. I'd be the first to admit we're not exactly riveting today. Starving, weak from injuries, trying not to reopen wounds. We're sitting huddled together, wrapped in the sleeping bag. Yes, but mostly to keep warm. The most exciting thing either of us does is napping. Ishi Live, hell yeah, you love this book? That's what's up. Yeah, I'm trying to finish book 1 so we can get to Catching Fire. Little behind the scenes, little thing about me is that I maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I finally watched Catching Fire, Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. The one-off books are amazing too. Yes. Yeah, I only watched the first movie. You know, and just like maybe 5 months ago, I finally watched like Catching Fire and everything. 10 out of 10. Oh my god. Hyperfixation Hunger Games. And so at the start of the year, Mockingjay was so boring, dude. Yeah, they had to split it to two books, to 2 movies. You know, like it was. I think the slowest burn was the first movie, the first book. But in currently this book is really solid. We're gonna do it. Don't worry, we're gonna do a tier list once I finish the 3 books. Mockingjay, yeah, it did kind of linger. The movie was boring. The book was amazing. Okay. Mockingjay Part 2 did ramp up, I will say. Yeah, but a little bit about me. Finally watched, the movies. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? Beginning of the year, I'll start doing TikTok streams and I'll do little readathons. I'll read the books because Sunset of the Reaping is in November, so the goal is to read the books until the movie and all that. Hopefully, finish the book right before like the movie drops, sort of thing. Can't wait for the last movie. Who said last, brother? It's a really solid universe. There's so many Hunger Games, There might be another book. Susan Collins might be inspired. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm not really sure how to ramp up the romance. The kiss last night was nice, but working up to another will take some forethought. There are girls in the seam, some of the merchant girls too, who navigate these waters so easily, but I've never had much time or use for it. Anyway, just a kiss isn't enough anymore, clearly, because if it was, we'd have gotten food last night. My instincts tell me Haymitch isn't just looking for physical affection, he wants something more personal. The sort of stuff he was trying to get me to tell about myself when we were practicing for the interview. I'm rotten at it, but Peeta's not. Maybe the best approach is to get him talking. Peeta, I say it lightly. You said at the interview you'd had a crush on me forever. When did forever start? Not sure what to start. Yeah, it's a good question. What would be another? Oh, I'm not real sure where. I don't know. Maybe like an origin story of some character. I'm not too sure though. Oh, let's see. I guess the first day of school. We were 5. You had on a red plaid dress, and your hair, It was in 2 braids instead of 1. My father pointed you out when we were waiting to line up, Peeta says. Your father? Why? I ask. He said, see that little girl? I wanted to marry her mother, but she ran off with a coal miner, Peeta says. What? You're making that up, I exclaim. No, true story. And I said, a coal miner? Why did she want a coal miner if she could have had you? And he said, because when he sings, even the birds stop to listen. That's true. They do. I mean, they did, I say. I'm stunned and surprisingly moved thinking of the baker telling this to Peeta. It strikes me that my own reluctance to sing, my own dismissal of music, might not really be that I think it's a waste of time. It might be because it reminds me too much of my father. So that day in music assembly, the teacher asked who knew the Valley song. Your hand shot right up in the air. She stood you up on a stool and had you sing it for us. And I swear every bird outside the windows fell silent, Peeta says. Maybe a book that retells the previous winners' games, but like 1 chapter for each victor. That'd be pretty solid. I think that'd be kind of cool. Oh, please, I say, laughing. No, it happened. And right when your song ended, I knew, just like your mother, I was a goner, Peeta says. Then, for the next 11 years, I tried to work up the nerve to talk to you. Without success, I added. Without success. So, in a way, my name being drawn in the reaping was a real piece of luck, says Peeta. For a moment, I'm almost foolishly happy, and then confusion sweeps over me. Because we're supposed to be making up this stuff, playing at being in love, and not actually being in love. But Peeta's story has a ring of truth to it. The part about my father and the birds. And I did sing the first day of school, although I don't remember the song, in that red plaid dress. There was one, a hand-me-down to Prim that got washed to rags after my father's death. It would explain another thing too, why Peeta took a beating to give me the bread on that awful hollow day. So if those details are true, could it all be true? Oh. You have a remarkable memory, I say haltingly. I remember everything about you, says Peeta, tucking a loose strand of hair behind my ear. You're the one who wasn't paying attention. Oh, damn. Okay. Damn. Alright. I am now, I say. Okay. Well, I don't have much competition here, he says. Damn. I want to draw away to close those shutters again, but I know I can't. It's as if I can hear Haymitch whispering in my ear, say it. I swallow hard and get to the words out. You don't have much competition anywhere, and this time it's me who leans in. Oh, shit. Gale's probably shaking in his boots, white-knuckling and everything in District 12 watching this shit, man. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. She's an unreliable narrator. True. Without a, yeah. No, I know she is. But bro, P got no competition, alright? Our lips have just barely touched when the clunk outside makes us jump. My bow comes up, the arrow ready to fly, but there's no other sound. Pete peers through the rocks and then gives a whoop. Like Whooper? Like the Pokemon? No relevant to the scene, yeah. Before I can stop him, he's out in the rain, then handing something into me. A silver parachute attached to a basket. I rip it open at once, and inside there's a feast. Fresh rolls, goat cheese, apples, and best of all, a tureen of that incredible lamb stew on wild rice. The very dish I told Caesar Flickerman was the most impressive thing the capital can afford. Peter wriggles back inside, his face lit up like the sun. I guess Hamish finally got tired of watching us starve. I guess so, I answer. But in my head, I can hear Hamish's smug, if slightly exasperated words. Yes, that's what I'm looking for, sweetheart. No. Ads? Okay. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah. 30 seconds. Nice. They finally get food. They're done now? Okay, okay. Let us continue with the dramatization to see... Well, hold on. Let's read chapter 23. Every cell in my body wants me to dig into the stew and cram it handful by handful into my mouth. Okay, hold on. Took too long to read my message. I'm so sorry.
Here.
Okay, gets medicine.
Do you think they're gonna bow? Like, maybe.
I don't know where this part is. Wait, this Loki's smart. Yeah. Okay, hold on. So, they're still in the cave. Is this a flashback? No, okay. Hold on.
Maybe.
Let me try to get like a good frame. Oh shit. Okay, that's better. That's better. You can kind of see her. Okay. Every cell in my body wants me to dig into the stew and cram it handful by handful into my mouth, but Peter's voice stops me. We better take it slow on that stew. Remember the first night on the train? The rich food made me sick and I wasn't even starving then. You're right, and I could just inhale the whole thing, I say regretfully, but I don't. We're quite sensible. We each have a roll, half an apple, and an egg-sized serving of stew and rice. I make myself eat the stew in tiny spoonfuls. They even sent us silverware and plates, savoring each bite. When we finish, I stare longingly at the dish. I want more. Me too. Tell you what, we wait an hour. If it stays down, then we get another serving, Peter says. Agreed, I say. It's going to be a long hour. Maybe not that long, says Peter. What was that you were saying just before the food arrived? Something about me, no competition, best thing that ever happened to you. I don't remember that part. I say, hoping it's too dim in here for the cameras to pick up my blushing. That ain't the movie. It's Hunger Games, but better. No, yeah, I do know that the movies are different from the books. In the books, it is the, unreliable narrator, but in the movies, it's, mainly focused on Katniss, but, like, there's, scenes that aren't in the books, so to speak. That ain't the movie. No, yeah. It's a parody. I remember that last part. Oh, that's right. That's what I was thinking, he says. Scoot over, I'm freezing. I make room for him in the sleeping bag. We lean back against the cave wall, my head on his shoulder. His arms wrapped around me. I can feel Hamish nudging me to keep up the act. So, since we were 5, you never even noticed any other girls? I mean, like, some things are just removed or added that affect the plot. Yeah. I ask him. No, I noticed just about every girl, but none of them made a lasting impression but you, he says. I'm sure that would thrill your parents, you liking a girl from the seam, I say. Hardly. But I couldn't care less, anyway. If we make it back, you won't be a girl from the seam. You'll be a girl from the victor's village, he says. That's right. If we win, we'll each get a house in the part of town reserved for Hunger Games victors. Long ago, when the games began, the capital had built a dozen fine houses in each district. Of course, in ours, only one is occupied. Most of the others have never been lived in at all. A disturbing thought hits me. But then, Our only neighbor will be Haymitch. Ah, that'll be nice, says Peta, tightening his arms around me. You and me and Haymitch, very cozy. Picnics, birthdays, long winter nights around the fire, retelling old Hunger Game tales. I told you he hates me, I say. But I can't help but laugh at the image of Haymitch becoming my new pal. Only sometimes, when he's sober, I've never heard him say one negative thing about you, says Peta. He's never sober, I protest. Damn. That's right. Who am I thinking of? Oh, I know. It's Cinna, who likes you. But that's mainly because you didn't try to run when he set you on fire, says Peta. On the other hand, Haymitch, well, if I were you, I'd avoid Haymitch completely. He hates you. I thought you said I was his favorite, I say. He hates me more, says Peta. I don't think people in general are his sort of thing. I know the audience will enjoy our having fun at Haymitch's expense. He has been around so long, he's practically an old friend to some of them. And after his head dive off the stage at the Reaping, everybody knows him. By this time, they'll have dragged him out of the control room for interviews about us, not telling what sort of lies he made up. He's at something of a disadvantage because most mentors have a partner, another victor to help them, whereas Haymitch has to be ready to go into action at any moment. Kind of like me when I was alone in the arena. I wonder how he's holding up, with the drinking, the attention, and the stress of trying to keep us alive. It's funny. Haymitch and I don't get along well in person, but maybe Peta is right about us being alike because he seems able to communicate with me by the timing of his gifts. Like how I knew I must be close to water when he withheld it, and how I knew the sleep syrup just wasn't something to ease Peta's pain, and how I know now that I have to play up the romance. He hasn't made much effort to connect with Peta, really. Perhaps he thinks a bowl of broth would just be a bowl of broth to Peta, whereas I'll see the strings attached to it. Oh, rip my goat. A thought hits me, and I'm amazed the question's taken so long to surface. Maybe it's because I've only recently begun to view Haymitch with a degree of curiosity. How do you think he did it? Who? Did what? Pete asks. Haymitch, how do you think he won the games? I say. Here we go. Peter considers this quite a while before he answers. Haymitch is sturdily built, but no physical wonder like Kato or Thresh. He's not particularly handsome. Rude. Not in the way that causes sponsors to rain gifts on you. Fair. And he's so surely it's hard to imagine anyone teaming up with him. There's only one way Haymitch could have won, and Peta says it just as I'm reaching this conclusion myself. He outsmarted the others, says Peta. I nod, then let the conversation drop. But secretly, I'm wondering if Haymitch sobered up long enough to help Peta and me because he thought we just might have the wits to survive. Maybe he wasn't always a drunk. Maybe in the beginning he tried to help the tributes, but then it got unbearable. It must be hell to mentor 2 kids, then watch them die, year after year. I realize that if I get out here, that will become my job. To mentor the girl from District 12, the idea is so repellent, I thrust it from my mind. About half an hour has passed before I decide to have an eat again. Peta's too hungry himself to put up an argument. While I'm dishing up 2 more small servings of lamb stew and rice, we hear the anthem begin to play. Peta presses his eyes against a crack in the rocks to watch the sky. There won't be anything to see tonight, I say, far from interested in the stew than the sky. Nothing's happened or we would have heard a cannon. Katniss, Peta says quietly. What, shall we split another roll too? I ask. Katniss, he repeats, but I find myself wanting to ignore him. I'm going to split one, but I'll save the cheese for tomorrow, I say. I see Peta staring at me. What? Thresh is dead. Peeta says Peeta. He can't be, I say. They must have fired the cannon during the thunder and we missed it, says Peeta. Are you sure? I mean, it's pouring buckets out there. I don't know how you can see anything, I say. I push him away from the rocks and squint out into the dark, rainy sky. For about 10 seconds, I catch a distorted glimpse of Thresh's picture, and then he's gone. Just like that. I slump down against the rocks, momentarily forgetting about the task at hand. Thresh dead. I should be happy, right? One less tribute to face, and a powerful one too. But I'm not happy. All I can think about is Thresh letting me go, letting me run because of Rue, who died with that spear in her stomach. You alright? Asks Peeta. I give a non-committal shrug and cup my elbows in my hands, hugging them close to my body. I have to bury the real pain because who's going to bet on the tribute who keeps sniveling over the deaths of her opponents? Rue was one thing. We were allies. She was so young. But no one will understand my sorrow at Thresh's murder. The word pulls me up short. Murder. Thankfully I didn't say it out loud. That's not going to win me any points in the arena. What I do say is, it's just, if we didn't win, I wanted Thresh to, because he let me go, and because of Rue. Yeah, I know, says Peeta. But this means we're one step closer to District 12. He nudges a plate of food into my hands. Eat. It's still warm. I take a bite of the stew to show I don't really care, but it's like glue in my mouth, and takes a lot of effort to swallow. It also means Kato will be back hunting us. And he's got supplies again, says Peeta. He'll be wounded, I bet, I say. What makes you say that? Peeta asks. Because Thresh would have never gone down without a fight. He's so strong, I mean. He was. And they were in his territory, I say. Good, says Peeta. The more wounded Kato is, the better. I wonder how Foxface is making out. Oh, she's fine, I say, peevishly. I'm still angry she thought of hiding in the cornucopia, and I didn't. Probably be easier to catch Kato than her. Maybe they'll catch each other and we just go home, says Peeta. But we better be extra careful about the watches. I dozed off a few times. Me too, I admit, but not tonight. We finish our food in silence, and then Peeta offers to take the first watch. I burrow down in the sleeping bag next to him, pulling my hood over my face to hide it from the cameras. I just need a few moments of privacy where I can let any emotion cross my face without being seen. Under the hood, I silently say goodbye to Thresh and thank him for my life. I promise to remember him, and if I can, do something to help his family and Ruse if I win. Then I escape into sleep, comforted by a full belly and the steady warmth of Peeta's beside me. When Peeta wakes me up later, the first thing I register is the smell of goat cheese. He's holding out half of a roll spread with the creamy white stuff and topped with apple slices. Don't be mad, he says. I had to eat again. Here's your half. Oh, gosh. Oh, good, I say, immediately taking a huge bite. The strong, fatty cheese tastes just like the kind Prim makes. The apples are sweet and crunchy. We make a goat cheese and apple tart at the bakery, he says. Bet that's expensive, I say. Too expensive for my family to eat, unless it's gone very stale. Of course, practically everything we eat is stale, says Peeta, pulling the sleeping bag up around him. In less than a minute, he's snoring. Huh. I always assumed the shopkeepers live a soft life. And it's true. Peeta has always had enough to eat, but there's something kind of depressing about living your life on stale bread. The hard, dry loaves that no one else wanted. One thing about us, since I bring our food home on a daily basis, most of it is so fresh you have to make sure it isn't going to make a run for it. Somewhere during my shift, the rain stops. Not gradually, but all of a sudden. The downpour ends and there's only the residual drippings of water from branches, the rush of the now overflowing stream below us. A full, beautiful moon emerges, and even without the glasses, I can see outside. I can't decide if the moon is real or merely a projection of the game makers. I know it was full shortly before I left home. Gail and I watched it rise as we hunted into the late hours. Hold on, need a little bit of water. How long have I been gone? I'm guessing it's been about 2 weeks in the arena, and there was that week of preparation in the capital. Maybe the moon has completed its cycle. For some reason, I badly want it to be my moon, the same one I see from the woods around District 12. That would give me something to cling to in the surreal world of the arena, where the authenticity of everything is to be doubted. 4 of us left. For the first time, I allow myself to truly think about the possibility that I might make it home, to fame, to wealth, to my own house in the Victor's village. My mother and Prim would live there with me. No more fear of hunger mentioned. A new kind of freedom. But then what? What would my life be like on a daily basis? Most of it has been consumed with the acquisition of food. Take that away, and I'm not really sure who I am, what my identity is. The idea scares me some. I think of Haymitch, with all of his money. What did his life become? He lives alone, no wife, no children, most of his waking hours drunk. I don't want to end up like that. Fallout and Hunger Games. This guy, awesome. Hell yeah. Thank you. Hell yeah. Let's see. But you won't be alone, I whisper to myself. I have my mother and Prim. Well, for the time being. And then, I don't want to think about then. When Prim has grown up, my mother passed away. I know I'll never marry, never risk bringing a child into the world. Because if there's one thing being a victor doesn't guarantee, it's your children's safety. My kids' names would go right into the reaping balls with everyone else's, and I swear I'll never let that happen. The sun eventually rises, its light slipping through the cracks and illuminating Peeta's face. Who will he transform into if we make it home? This perplexing, good-natured boy who can spin out lies so convincingly the whole of Panem believes him to be hopelessly in love with me. And I'll admit it, there are moments when he makes me believe in myself. At least we'll be friends, I think. Nothing will change the fact that we've saved each other's lives in here, and beyond that, we will always be the boy with the bread. Good friends. Anything beyond that, though, and I feel Gale's gray eyes watching me, watching Peeta, all the way from District 12. Discomfort causes me to move. I scoot over and shake Peeta's shoulder. His eyes open sleepily, and when they focus on me, he pulls me down for a long kiss. Aww. Baby girl, he's in love. Yo, the end of stream, you should like yell or make a loud noise or something. I don't know if I can, bro. Yeah, no, it's fine. We're wasting hunting time, I say when I finally break away. I wouldn't call it wasting, he says, giving me a bit stretch as he sits up. So do we hunt on empty stomachs to give us an edge? Not us, I say. We stuff ourselves to give us straying power. Count me in, Peeta says, but I can't see. He's surprised when I divide the rest of the stew and rice and hand a heaping plate to him. All this? We'll earn it back today, I say, and we both plow into our plates. Even cold, it's one of the best things I've ever tasted. I abandon my fork and scrape up the last dabs of the gravy with my finger. I can feel Effie Trinket shuddering at my manners. Hey Effie, watch this, says Peeta. He tosses his fork over his shoulder and literally licks his plate clean with his tongue, making loud, satisfied sounds. Then he blows a kiss out to her in general and calls, "We miss you, Effie." Oh. Let's see. I cover his mouth with my hand, but I'm laughing. Stop, Cato could be right outside our cave. He grabs my hand away. What do I care? I've got you to protect me now, says Peeta, pulling me into him. Oh. Okay. Come on, I say in exasperation. Extraditing myself from his grasp, but not before he gets in another kiss. Bro, he is sniping those kisses, man. Straight up sniping those kisses. Left and right. Once we're packed up and standing outside our cave, our mood shifts to serious. It's as though for the last few days, sheltered by the rocks and the rain and Cato's preoccupation with Thresh, we were given a respite, a holiday of sorts. Now, although the day is sunny and warm, we both sense we're really back in the games. I hand Peeta my knife, since whatever weapons he once had are long gone, and he slips it into his belt. My last 7 arrows. Of the 12, I sacrificed 3 in the explosion. 2 at the feast, rattle a bit too loosely in the quiver. I can't afford to lose any more. He'll be hunting us by now, says Peeta. Cato isn't one to wait for his prey to wander by. If he's wounded, I begin. It won't matter, Peeta breaks in. If he can move, he's coming. With all the rain, the stream has overrun its banks by several feet on either side. We stop there to replenish our water. I check the snares I set days ago and come up empty. Not surprising with the weather. Besides, I haven't seen many animals or signs of them in this area. If we want food, we better head back to my old hunting grounds, I say. Your call. Just tell me what you need me to do, Peeta says. Keep an eye out, I say. Stay on the rocks as much as possible. No sense in leaving him tracks to follow. And listen for both of us. It's clear, at this point, that the explosion destroyed the hearing in my left ear for good. I'd walk in the water to cover our tracks completely, but I'm not sure Peeta's leg could take the current. Although the drugs have erased the infection, he's still pretty weak. My forehead hurts along the knife cut, but after 3 days, the bleeding has stopped. I wear a bandage around my head. And Katniss is all like, he's just manipulating the audience. Yeah. No, seriously. Head through. Though, just in case physical exertion should bring it back. As we head up along the stream, we pass the place where I found Peeta camouflaged in the weeds and mud. One good thing. Between the downpour and the flooded banks, all signs of his hiding place have been wiped out. That means that, if need be, we can come back to our cave. Otherwise, I wouldn't risk it with Cato after us. The boulders diminish to rocks that eventually turn to pebbles, and then, to my relief, we're back to the pine needles and the gentle incline of the forest floor. For the first time, I realize we have a problem. Navigating the rocky terrain with a bad leg, well, you're naturally going to make some noise. But even on the smooth bed of needles, Peeta is loud. And I mean loud. Damn, okay, alright. As if he's stomping his feet or something. I turn and look at him. What? He asks. You've gotta move more quietly, I say. Forget about Cato. You're chasing off every rabbit in a 10-mile radius. Really? He says. Sorry, I didn't know. So we start up again, and he's a tiny bit better, but even with only one working ear, he's making me jump. Can you take your boots off? I suggest. Here? He asks in disbelief, as if I'd asked him to walk barefoot on hot coals or something. I have to remind myself that he's still not used to the woods. that it's the scary, forbidden place beyond the fences of District 12. I think of Gale, with his velvet tread. It's eerie how little sound he makes. Like a lizard gliding on ice. It's eerie how little sound he makes, even when the leaves have fallen, and it's a challenge to move all without chasing off the game. I feel certain he's laughing back home. Yes, I say patiently. I will too. That way we'll both be quieter. Like I was making any noise. So we both strip off our boots and socks, and while there's some improvement, I could swear he's making an effort to snap every branch we encounter. Damn it, PETA. Damn it, PETA. Needless to say, although it takes several hours to reach my old camp with Rue, I've shot nothing. If the stream would settle down, fish might be an option, but the current is still too strong. As we stop to rest and drink water, I try to work out a solution. Ideally, I'd dump PETA now with some simple root gathering chore and go hunt, but then he'd be left with only a knife to defend himself against Kato's spears and superior strength. So what I'd really like is to try and conceal him somewhere safe, then go hunt, and come back and collect him. But I have a feeling his ego isn't going to go for that suggestion. Katniss, he says, we need to split up. I know I'm chasing away the game, only because your leg hurts, I say generously, because really, you can tell that's only a small part of the problem. Damn. I know, he says, so why don't you go on? Show me some plants to gather, and that way we'll both be useful. Not if Cato comes and kills you, I tried to say, in a nice way, but it still sounds like I think he's a weakling. Surprisingly, he just laughs. Look, I can handle Cato. I fought him before, didn't I? Yeah, and that turned out great. You ended up dying in a mud bank. That's what I want to say, but I can't. He did save my life by taking on Cato after all. I try another tactic. What if you climbed up in a tree and acted as a lookout while I hunted? I say, trying to make it sound like a very important work. What if you show me what's edible around here and go get us some meat? He says, mimicking my tone. Just don't go far in case you need help. I sigh and show him some roots to dig. We do need food, no question. 1 apple, 2 rolls, and a blob of cheese the size of a plum won't last long. I'll just go a short distance and hope Cato is a long way off. I teach him a bird whistle. Not a melody like Rue's, but a simple 2-tone whistle, which we can use to communicate that we're all right. Fortunately, he's good at this. Leaving him with the pack, I head off. I feel like I'm 11 again, tethered not to the safety of the fence, but to PETA, allowing myself 20, maybe 30 yards of hunting space. Away from him, though, the woods come alive with animal sounds. Reassured by his periodic whistles, I allow myself to drift farther away, and soon have 2 rabbits and a fat squirrel to show for it. I decide it's enough. I can set snares and maybe get some fish. With PETA's roots, this will be enough for now. As I travel the short distance back, I realize we haven't exchanged signals in a while. When my whistle receives no response, I run. In no time, I find the pack, a neat pile of roots beside it. The sheet of plastic has been laid on the ground where the sun can reach the single layer of berries that covers it. But where is he? Oh, thank you for the likes. PETA, I call out in panic. PETA. I turn to the rustle of brush and almost send an arrow through him. Fortunately, I pull my bow at the last second, and it sticks in the oak trunk to his left. He jumps back, flinging a handful of berries into the foliage. My fear comes out as anger. What are you doing? You're supposed to be here, not running around in the woods. I found some berries down by the stream, he says, clearly confused by my outburst. I whistled. Why didn't you whistle back? I snap at him. I didn't hear. The water's too loud, I guess, he says. He crosses and puts his hands on my shoulders. That's when I feel that I'm trembling. I thought Kato killed you, I almost shouted. No, I'm fine. I'm chill. Peter wraps his arms around me, but I don't respond, Katniss. I push away, trying to sort out my feelings. If two people agree on a signal, they stay in range. Because if one of them doesn't answer, they're in trouble, alright? Alright, he says. Alright, because that's what happened with Rue and I watched her die, I say. I turn away from him, go to the pack and open a fresh bottle of water. Although I still have some in mine, but I'm not ready to forgive him. I notice the food, the rolls and the apples are untouched, but someone's definitely picked away part of the cheese. And you ate without me. I really don't care. I just want something else to be mad about. I don't really care. I just want to be mad about something else. What? No, I didn't, Peeta says. Oh, and I suppose the apples are... I suppose the apples ate the cheese, I say. I don't know what ate the cheese, Peeta says slowly and distinctly, as if trying not to lose his temper. But it wasn't me. I've been down by the stream collecting berries. Would you care for some? I would actually, but I don't want to relent too soon. I do walk over and look at them. I've never seen this type before. No, I have. But not in the arena. These aren't Rue's berries. Although they resemble them, nor do they match any I learned about in training. I lean down and scoop up a few, rolling them between my fingers. My father's voice comes back to me. Not these, Katniss. Never these. They're Nightlock. You'll be dead before they reach your stomach. Just then the cannon fires. Oh. I whip around, expecting Peeta to collapse to the ground, but he only raises his eyebrows. The hovercraft appears 100 yards or so away. What's left of Foxface's emaciated body is lifted into the air. I can see the red glint of her hair in the sunlight. I should have known the moment I saw the missing cheese. Peeta has me by the arm, pushing me towards a tree. Climb. He'll be here in a second. We'll stand a better chance fighting him from above. I stop him, suddenly calm. No, Peeta. She's your kill, not Cato's. What? I haven't even seen her since the first day, he says. How could I have killed her? In answer, I hold out the berries. Foreshadowing Nightlock, yeah. Oh, damn. Okay. Chapter 24. Let's check the dramatization. Right? Hold on.
Do you think they're gonna bow? I feel like maybe.
Peeta! 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 Those are Nightlock berries! You'll be dead in a minute!
Like, we just... Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, calm down. First.
Okay,
calm
well, I
down.
wish you would have ate the berries, actually.
Oh,
Sorry for helping
wow.
you.
Wow.
Sorry for helping you. Yeah, no. I'm happy you're alive.
You look good.
You look good. Oh,
She must have been following me. I didn't even hear her.
okay. Sick. Alright. Chapter 24. You have 3 more chapters, I believe. We're getting there. We are getting there. Okay. It takes a while to explain the situation to Peeta. How Foxface stole the food from the supply pile before I blew it up. How she tried to take enough to stay alive, but not enough that anyone would notice. How she wouldn't question the safety of berries we were preparing to eat ourselves. I wonder how she found us, says Peeta. My fault, I guess, if I'm as loud as you say. We were about as hard to follow as a herd of cattle, but I try to be kind. Damn. Okay. And she's very clever, Peeta. Well, she was until you outfoxed her. Okay, Leon Kennedy with the fucking one-liners. Huh. I guess she got outfoxed. Not on purpose. Doesn't seem fair somehow. I mean, we would have both been dead too if she hadn't eaten the berries first. True. Greedo shot first type shit. He checks himself. No, of course, we wouldn't. You recognized them, didn't you? I give a nod. We call them Nightlock. Even the name sounds deadly. He says, I'm sorry, Katniss. I really thought they were the same ones you gathered. Don't apologize. It just means we're one step closer to home, right? I asked. I'll get rid of the rest, Peeta says. He gathers up the sheet of blue plastic, careful to trap the berries inside, and goes to toss them into the woods. Damn. Wait, I cry. I find the leather pouch that belonged to the boy from District 1 and fill it with a few handful of the berries from the plastic. If they fooled Foxface, maybe they can fool Kato as well. If he's chasing us or something, we can act like we accidentally dropped the pouch, and if he eats them, then hello District 12, says Peeta. That's it, I say, securing the pouch to my belt. He'll know where we are now, says Peeta. If he was anywhere nearby and saw that hovercraft, he'll know we killed her and come after us. Peeta's right. This could be just the opportunity Kato's been waiting for. But even if we run now, there's the meat to cook, and our fire will be another sign of our whereabouts. Let's make a fire right now. I begin to gather branches and brush. Are you ready to face him? Peeta asks. I'm ready to eat. Better to cook our food while we have the chance. If he knows we're here, he knows. But he also knows there's two of us and probably assumes we were hunting Foxface. That means you've recovered. And the fire means we're not hiding, we're inviting him here. Would you show up, I ask? Maybe not, he says. Peeta's a whiz with fires, coaxing a blaze out of the damp wood. In no time, I have the rabbit and squirrel roasting, the roots wrapping in leaves, baking in the coals. We take turns gathering greens and keeping a careful watch for Kato, but as I anticipated, he doesn't make an appearance. I see. He doesn't make an appearance. When the food's cooked, I pack most of it up, leaving us each a rabbit's leg to eat as we walk. I want to move higher into the woods, climb a good tree, and make camp for the night, but Peeta resists. I can't climb like you, Katniss, especially with my leg, and I don't think I could even fall asleep 50 feet above the ground. It's not safe to stay in the open, Peeta, I say. Can we go back to the cave, he asks. It's near water and easy to defend. I sigh. Several more hours of walking, or should I say crashing, through the woods to reach an area we will just have to leave in the morning to hunt. Water, hold on. But Peeta doesn't ask for much. He's followed my instructions all day, and I'm sure if things were reversed, he wouldn't make me spend the night in a tree. It dawns on me that I haven't been very nice to Peeta today, nagging him about how loud he was, screaming at him over disappearing. The playful romance we had sustained in the cave has disappeared out in the open, under the hot sun, with the threat of Kato looming over us. Haymitch has probably just about had it with me, and as for the audience, I reach up and give him a kiss. Sure, let's go back to the cave. He looks pleased and relieved. Well, that was easy. Okay. Man, I'm starving. There must be some sort of These must be some sort of Hunger Games, John Mockingjay. Yeah. I guess we're really in a Hunger Game. I work my arrow out of the oak, carefully not to damage the shaft. These arrows are food safe. These arrows are food, safety, and life itself now. We toss a bunch more wood on the fire. It should be sending off smoke for a few more hours, although I doubt Kato assumes anything at this point. When we reach the stream, I see the water has dropped considerably and moves as its old leisurely pace, so I suggest we walk back in it. Peeta's happy to oblige, and since he's a lot quieter in the water than on land, it's a doubly good idea. It's a long walk back to the cave, though, even going downward, even with the rabbit to give us a boost. We're both exhausted by our hike today and still way too underfed. I keep my bow loaded, both for Kato and any fish I might see, but the stream seems strangely empty of creatures. By the time we reach our destination, our feet are dragging and the sun sits low on the horizon. We fill up our water bottles and climb the line slope to our den. It's not much, but out here in the wilderness, it's the closest thing we have to a home. It will be warmer than a tree, too, because it provides some shelter from the wind that has begun to blow steadily from the west. I set a good dinner out, but halfway through, Peeta begins to nod off. After days of inactivity, the hunt has taken its toll. I order him into the sleeping bag and set aside the rest of his food for when he wakes. He drops off immediately. I pull the sleeping bag up to his chin and kiss his forehead, not for the audience, but for me. Oh. It's almost like she's catching fire. John Blurbius. So, hello, welcome to the stream. We're reading The Hunger Games. Hello. Let's see. Where were we? But for me, because I'm so grateful that he's still here, not dead by the stream, as I'd thought. So glad that I don't have to face Kato alone. Is this a bedtime story? It sure is. A nice, relaxing, good time story of the Hunger Games. Book 1, Chapter 24. He's this. Yeah. Brutal, bloody Kato, who can snap a neck with a twist of his arm, who had the power to overcome Thresh, who had it out for me since the beginning. He probably has had a special hatred for me ever since I outscored him in the training. A boy like Peeta would simply shrug that off. But I have a feeling it drove Kato to distraction, which is not that hard. I think of his ridiculous reaction to finding the supplies blown up. The others were upset, of course, but he was completely unhinged. I wonder now if Kato might not be entirely sane. The sky lights up with the seal, and I watch Foxface shine in the sky and then disappear from the world forever. He hasn't said it, but I don't think Peeta felt good about killing her, even if it was essential. I can't pretend I'll miss her, but I have to admire her. My guess is if she had given us some sort of test, she would have been the smartest of all the tributes. If, in fact, we had been setting a trap for her, I bet she had sensed it and avoided the berries. It was Peeta's own ignorance that brought her down. I've spent so much time making sure I don't underestimate my opponents that I've forgotten it's just as dangerous to overestimate them as well. It is for this guy, yeah. That brings me back to Kato. But while I think I had a sense of Foxface, who she was and how she operated, he's a little more slippery. Powerful, well-trained, but smart? I don't know. Not like she was, and utterly lacking in the control Foxface demonstrated. I believe Kato could easily lose his judgment in a fit of temper. Not that I can feel superior on that point. I think of the moment I sent the arrow flying into the apple in the pig's mouth when I was so enraged. Maybe I do understand Kato better than I think. Despite the fatigue in my body, my mind's alert, so I let Peeta sleep long past our usual switch. In fact, a soft gray day has begun when I shake his shoulder. He looks out, almost in alarm. I slept the whole night. That's not fair, Katniss. You should have woken me. I stretch and burrow down into the bag. I'll sleep now. Wake me if anything interesting happens. Apparently nothing does. because when I open my eyes, bright hot afternoon light gleams through the rocks. Any sign of our friend, I ask? Peter shakes his head. No, he's keeping a disturbingly low profile. How long do you think we'll have before the game makers drive us together, I ask. Well, Foxface died almost a day ago, so there's been plenty of time for the audience to place bets and get bored. I guess it could happen any moment, says Peter. Yeah, I have a feeling today's the day, I say. I sit up and look out at the peaceful terrain. I wonder how they'll do it. Peter remains silent. There's not really any good answer. Well, until they do, no sense in wasting a hunting day, but we should probably eat as much as we can hold, just in case we run into trouble, I say. Peter packs up our gear while I lay out a big meal. The rest of the rabbit, roots, greens, the roll spread with the last bit of cheese. The only thing I leave in reserve is the squirrel and the apple. By the time we're done, all that's left is a pile of rabbit bones. My hands are greasy, which only adds to my growing feeling of grubbiness. Maybe we don't bathe today. Maybe we don't bathe daily in the seam, but we keep cleaner than I have of late, except for my feet, which have walked in the stream. I'm covered in a layer of grime. Damn. Hold on, a little bit more water. Leaving the cave has a sense of finality about it. I don't think there will be another night in the arena somehow. One way or another, dead or alive, I have the feeling I'll escape it today. I give the rocks a pat goodbye. Bye, rocks. And we head down to the stream to wash up. I can feel my skin itching for the cool water. I may do my hair and braid it back wet. I'm wondering if we might even be able to give our clothes a quick scrub when we reach the stream. Or what used to be a stream. Now there's only a bone-dry bed. I put my hand down to feel it. Not even a little damp. They must have drained it while we slept, I say. A fear of the cracked tongue, aching body, and fuzzy mind brought on my previous dehydrated creeps into my consciousness. Our bottles and skin are fairly full, but with 2 drinking and this hot sun, it won't take long to deplete them. The lake, says Peter. That's where they want us to go. Maybe the ponds still have some, I say hopefully. We can check, he says. But he's just humoring me. I'm humoring myself because I know what I'll find when we return to the pond where I soaked my leg, a dusty, gaping mouth of a hole. But we make the trip anyway, just to confirm what we already know. You're right. They're driving us to the lake, I say, where there's no cover, where there's no guaranteed, where they're guaranteed a bloody fight to the death with nothing to block their view. Do you want to go straightway or wait until the water's tapped out? Let's go now. Well, we've had food and rest. Let's just go end this thing, he says. I nod. It's funny. I feel almost as if the first day of the games again, that I'm in the same position. 21 tributes are dead, but I still have yet to kill Kato. And really, wasn't he always the one to kill? Now it seems the other tributes were just minor obstacles, distractions, keeping us from the real battle of the games. Kato and me. But no, there's the boy waiting beside me. I feel his arms wrap around me. 2 against 1. Should be a piece of cake, he says. Next time we eat, it'll be in the capital, I answer. You bet it will, he says. We stand there a while, locked in an embrace, feeling each other, the sunlight, the rustle of the leaves at our feet. Then, without a word, we break apart and head for the lake. I don't care now that PETA's footfalls send rodents scuttling, making birds take wing. We have to fight Kato, and I'd be just as soon do it here as on the plane. But I doubt I'll have that choice. If the game makers want us in the open, then in the open, we will be. We stopped to rest for a few moments under the tree where the careers trapped me. The husk of the tracker jacker's nest, beaten to a pulp by the heavy rains and dried in the burning sun, confirms the location. I touch it with the tip of my boot, and it dissolves into dust that is quickly carried off by the breeze. I can't help looking up in the tree where Rue secretly perched, waiting to save my life. Tracker jackers, Glimmer's bloated body, the terrifying hallucinations. Let's move on, I say, wanting to escape the darkness that surrounds this place. PETA doesn't object. Given our late start to the day, when we reach the plain, it's already early evening. There's no sign of Cato, no sign of anything except the gold cornucopia glowing in the slanting sun rays. Just in case Cato decided to pull a fox face on us, we circle the cornucopia to make sure it's empty. Then, obediently, as if following instructions, we cross to the lake and fill our water containers. I frown at the shrinking sun. We don't want to find him after dark. There's only the one pair of glasses. PETA carefully squeezes drops of iodine into the water. Maybe that's what he's waiting for. What do you want to do? Go back to the cave? Either that or find a tree. Let's give him another half an hour or so. Then we'll take cover, I answer. We sit by the lake in full sight. There's no point in hiding now. In the trees at the edge of the plain, I can see the mockingjays flittering above, bouncing melodies back and forth between them like brightly colored balls. I open my mouth and sing out Rue's four-tone note. I can feel them pause curiously at the sound of my voice, listening for more. I repeat the notes in the silence. First one mockingjay trills the tune back, then another. Then the whole world comes alive with the sound. Ooh. Just like your father, says PETA. My fingers find the pin on my shirt. That's Rue's song. I say, I think they remember it. The music swells and I recognize the brilliance of it. As the notes overlap, they complement one another, forming a lovely, unearthly harmony. It was this sound, then, thanks to Rue, that sent the orchard workers to District 11 home each night. Does someone start it at quitting time, I wonder, now that she is dead? For a while, I just close my eyes and listen, mesmerized by the beauty of the song. Then something begins to disrupt the music. Runs cut off in a jagged, imperfect lines. Dissonant notes intersperse with the melody. The mockingjay's voices rise up in a shrieking cry of alarm. We're on our feet. PETA, wielding his knife, he poised to shoot. Me poised to shoot when Cato smashes through the trees and bears down on us. He has no spear. In fact, his hands are empty, yet he runs straight for us. My first arrow hits his chest and inexplicably falls aside. He's got some kind of body armor, I shout to PETA. Just in time, too, because Cato is upon us. I brace myself, but he rockets right between us with no attempt to check his speed. I can tell from his panting, the sweat pouring off his purplish face, that he's been running hard a long time. Not toward us, from something. But what? My eyes scan the woods just in time to see the first creature leap onto the plain. As I'm turning away, I see another half dozen join it. Then I'm stumbling blindly after Cato with no thought of anything but to save myself. Okay, chapter 25 out of 27. Okay. Let's see the dramatization.
She's smart.
What are you doing?
Maybe Kato likes berries, right? What's so funny about that?
Well, it's a funny death. That's a funny way to die.
I guess, yeah.
You're a genius.
Okay.
Do you think if I had one, it would hurt?
Probably give you a cramp. You do want PETA!
But he's the kid.
Okay. Chapter 25. Mutations. No question about it. I've never seen these mutts. Oh, that's why you guys see the dog there. I've never seen these mutts, but they're no natural born animals. They resemble huge wolves, but what wolf lands and then bounces easily on its hind legs? What wolf waves the rest of the pack forward with its front paw as though it had a wrist? These things I can see at a distance. Up close, I'm sure their more menacing attributes will be revealed. What do you mean by this? Lands on and then bounces easily on its hind legs? Cato has made a beeline for the cornucopia, and without question I follow him. If he thinks it's the safest place, who am I to argue? Besides, even if I could make it to the trees, it would be impossible for PETA to outrun them on that leg. PETA! My hands have just landed on the metal at the pointed tail of the cornucopia when I remember I'm part of a team. He's about 15 yards behind me, hobbling as fast as he can, but the mutts are closing in on him fast. And I send an arrow into the pack and one goes down, but there are plenty to take its place. PETA's waving me up the horn. Go, Candace, go! He's right, I can't protect either of us on the ground. I start climbing, scaling the cornucopia on my hands and feet. The pure gold surface has been designed to resemble the woven horn that we fill at harvest, so there are little ridges and seams to get a decent hold on. But after a day in the arena's sun, the metal feels hot enough to blister my hands. Jesus. Cato lies on his side at the very top of the horn, 20 feet above the ground, gasping to catch his breath as he gags over the edge. Now's my chance to finish him off. I stop midway up the horn and load another arrow. Just as I'm about to let it fly, I hear PETA cry out. I twist around and see he's just reached the tail, and the mutts are right on his heels. Climb, I yell. PETA starts up, hampered by not only the leg, but the knife in his hand. I shoot my arrow down the throat of the first mutt that places its paws on the metal. As it dies, the creature lashes out, inadvertently opening gashes on a few of its companions. That's when I get a look at the claws. 4 inches and clearly razor sharp. 4 inches? Oh, the ads are about to start. Shoot. Let's see. PETA reaches my feet and I grab his arm and pull him along. Then I remember Cato waiting at the top and whip around, but he's doubled over with cramps and apparently more preoccupied with the mutts than us. He coughs out something unintelligible. He fucking throws up. That's crazy. Oh, there's ads. I love how the books did mutations. Yeah, mutations. Okay. The snuffling, growling, and sound coming from the mutts isn't helping. What? I shouted at him. He said, can they climb it? Answers PETA, drawing my focus back to the base of the horn. The mutts are beginning to assemble. As they join together, they raise up again and stand easily on the back legs, giving them an eerily human quality. Oh. Each has a thick coat, some with fur that is straight and sleek, others curly, and the colors vary from jet black to what I can only describe as blonde. There's something else about them. Something that makes the hair rise up on the back of my neck, but I can't put my finger on it. They put their snouts on the horn, sniffing and tasting the metal, scraping paws over the surface, and then making high-pitched yiping sounds to one another. They must be how they communicate, because the pack backs up as if to make room. Then one of them, a good-sized mutt with silky waves of blonde fur, takes a running start and leaps on top of the horn. Its back legs must be incredibly powerful because it lands a mere 10 feet below us. Its pink lips pulled back in a snarl. For a moment it hangs there, And in that moment, I realized what else unsettled me about the mutts. The green eyes glowering at me are unlike any dog or wolf, any canine I've ever seen. They are unmistakably human. Oh. And that revelation has barely registered when I noticed the collar with the number 1 inlaid with jewels, and the whole horrible thing hits me. The blonde hair, the green eyes, the number. It's Glimmer? No. No, that's the... Okay, it's Glimmer? It's Glimmer. A shriek escapes my lips, and I'm having trouble holding the arrow in place. I have been waiting to fire, only too aware of my dwindling to supply of arrows, waiting to see if the creatures can in fact climb. But now, even though the mutt has begun to slide backward, unable to find any purchase on the metal, even though I can hear the slow screeching of the claws like nails on a blackboard, I fire into its throat. Its body twitches and flops on the ground with a thud. Katniss, I can feel Peeta's grip on my arm. It's her. I get out. Who? My head snaps from side to side as I examine the pack, taking in the various sizes and colors. The small one with the red coat and amber eyes. Fox face. Oh my god. And there, the ashen hair and hazel eyes, the boy from District 9 who died as we struggled for the backpack, and worst of all, the smallest mutt with dark glossy fur, huge brown eyes, and a collar that reads 11 in woven straw, teeth barred in hatred. Rue. Oh my god. What is it, Katniss? Peeta shakes my shoulder. It's them. It's all of them. The others. Rue and Foxface and all the other tributes, I choked out. I hear Peeta's gasp in recognition. What did they do to them? You don't think those could be their real eyes? Their eyes are at least of my worries. What about their brains? Have they been given any of the real tributes' memories? Have they been programmed to hate our faces, particularly because we have survived and they were so callously murdered? And the ones we actually killed, do they believe they're avenging their own deaths? Oh. Before I get this out, the mutts begin a new assault on the horn. They split into two groups at the sides of the horn and are using their powerful hindquarters to launch themselves at us. A pair of teeth ring together just inches from my hand, and then I hear Peeta cry out, feel the yank on his body, the heavy weight of boy and mutt pulling me over the side. If not for the grip on my arm, he'd be on the ground. But as it is, it takes all my strength to keep us both on the curved back of the horn, and more tributes are coming. Fuck. Kill it, Peeta, kill it, I'm shouting, and although I can't quite see what's happening, I know he must have stabbed the thing because the pull lessens. I'm able to haul him back on top of the horn, where we drag ourselves toward the top where the lesser of the two evils await. Cato has still not regained his feet, but his breathing is slowing, and I know soon he'll be recovered enough to come for us, to hurl us over the side to our deaths. I arm my bow, but the arrow ends up taking out a mutt that can only be Thresh. Who else could jump so high? I feel a moment's relief because we must finally be up above the mutt line, and I'm just turning back to face Cato when Peeta's jerked from my side. I'm sure the pack has gotten him until his blood splatters my face. Oh my god. Cato stands before me, almost at the lip of the horn, holding Peeta in some kind of headlock. cutting off his air. Pete is clawing at Kato's arm, but weakly, as if confused over whether it's more important to breathe or try to stem the gush of blood from the gaping hole a mutt left in his calf. Oh, I aim one of my last 2 arrows at Kato's head, knowing it'll have no effect on his trunk or limbs, which I can now see are clothed in a skin-tight flesh-colored mesh, some high-grade body armor from the capital. Was that what was in his pack at the feast? Body armor to defend against my arrows? Well, they neglected to send a face guard. Ooh. Kato just laughs. Shoot me and he goes down with me. He's right. If I take him out and he falls to the mutts, Peeta's sure to die with him. We reached a stalemate. I can't shoot Kato without killing Peeta too. He can't kill Peeta without guaranteeing an arrow in his brain. We stand like statues, both of us seeking it out. My muscles are strained so tightly, they feel they might snap at any moment. My teeth clenched at the breaking point. The mutts go silent, and the only thing I can hear is the blood pounding in my good ear. Peeta's lips are turning blue. If I don't do something quickly, he'll die of asphyxiation, and then I'll have lost him, and Kato will probably use his body as a weapon against me. In fact, I'm sure this is Kato's plan, because while he's stopped laughing, his lips are set in a triumphant smile. As if in a last-ditch effort, Peeta raises his fingers, dripping with blood from his leg, up to Kato's arm. Instead of trying to wrestle his way free, his forefinger veers off and makes a deliberate X on the back of Kato's hand. Kato realizes what it means exactly 1 second after I do. I can tell by the way the smile drops from his lips, but it's 1 second too late, because by that time my arrow is piercing his hand. He cries out and reflexively releases Peeta, who slams back against him. For a horrible moment, I think they're both going over. I dive forward, just catching hold of Peeta as Kato loses his footing on the blood-slick horn and plummets to the ground. Oh. We hear him hit the air, leaving his body on impact, and then the mutts attack him. Peeta and I hold on to each other, waiting for the cannon, waiting for the competition to finish, waiting to be released, but it doesn't happen. Not yet, because this is the climax of the Hunger Games, and the audience expects a show. I don't watch, but I can hear the snarls, the growls, the howls of pain from both human and beast as Kato takes the mutt pack. I can't understand how he can be surviving until I remember the body armor protecting him from ankle to neck, and I realize what a long night this could be. Kato must have a knife or sword or something too, something he had hidden in his clothes, because on occasion there's death screams of a mutt on the sound of metal on metal as the blade collides with the golden horn. The combat moves around the side of the cornucopia, and I know Kato must be attempting the one maneuver that could save his life, to make his way back around to the tail of the horn and rejoin us. But in the end, despite his remarkable strength and skill, he is simply overpowered. Fuck. Oh. Fuck, dude. Okay. Fuck. Hold on. Let's do, no, we'll finish this chapter and then go back to the dramatization. I don't know how long it has been, maybe an hour or so, when Kato hits the ground, and we hear the mutts dragging him back to the cornucopia. Now they'll finish him off, I think. But there's still no cannon. Oh my fucking... There's still no cannon. Night falls, and the anthem plays, and there's no picture of Kato in the sky, only the faint moans coming through the metal beneath us. Oh my god. The icy air blows across the plain, reminds me that the games are not over, and may not be over for who knows how long, and there's still no guarantee of victory. I turn my attention to PETA and discover his leg is bleeding as badly as ever. All our supplies, our packs, remain down by the lake where we abandoned them when we fled from the mutts. I have no bandage, nothing to staunch the flow of blood from his calf. Although I'm shaking in the biting cold, I rip off my jacket, remove my shirt, and zip back into the jacket as swiftly as possible. That brief exposure sent my teeth chattering beyond control. PETA's face is gray in the pale moonlight. I make him lie down before I probe his wound. Warm, slippery blood runs over my fingers. A bandage will not be enough. I've seen my mother tie a tourniquet a handful of times and try to replicate it. I cut free a sleeve from my shirt, wrap it twice around his leg, just under his knee, and tie a half knot. I don't have a stick, so I take my remaining arrow and insert it in the knot, twisting it as tightly as I dare. It's risky business. PETA may end up losing his leg. But when I weigh this against him losing his life, what alternative do I have? I bandage the wound in the rest of my shirt and lie down with him. My God. Oh, don't go to sleep, I tell him. I'm not sure if this is exactly medical protocol, but I'm terrified that if he drifts off, he'll never wake again. Are you cold? He asks. He unzips his jacket, and I press against him as he fastens it around me. It's a bit warmer, sharing our body heat inside my double layer of jackets, but the night is young. The temperature will continue to drop. Even now I can feel the cornucopia, which burned so when I first climbed it, slowly turning to ice. Cato may win this thing yet, I whisper to PETA. Don't you believe it, he says, pulling up my hood, but he's shaking harder than I am. The next hours are the worst in my life, which, if you think about it, is saying something. The cold would be torture enough, but the real nightmare is listening to Cato moaning, begging, and finally just whimpering as the mutts work away at him. Oh my God. But the real nightmare is listening to Cato moaning, begging, and finally, hold on. It's doing that weird thing where I gotta like update, live. There we go. So, hold on. The next hour is the worst. Finally just whimpering as the mutts work away at him. After a very short time, I don't care who he is or what he's done. All I want is for his suffering to end. Oh my God. Why don't they just kill him, I ask PETA. You know why, he says, and pulls me closer to him, and I do. No viewer could turn away from the show now. From the game maker's point of view, this is the final word in entertainment. It goes on and on and on, and eventually completely consumes my mind, blocking our memories and hopes of tomorrow, erasing everything but the present, which I begin to believe will never change. There will never be anything but cold and fear, and the agonized sounds of the boy dying in the horn. Oh my fucking God. Jesus Christ. PETA begins to doze off now, and each time he does, I find myself yelling his name louder and louder, because if he goes and dies on me now, I know I'll go completely insane. He's fighting it, probably more for me than for him, and it's hard because unconsciousness would be its own form of escape. But the adrenaline pumping through my body would never allow me to follow him, so I can't let him go. I just can't. The only indication of the passage of time lies in the heavens, the subtle shift of the moon, so PETA begins pointing it out to me, insisting I acknowledge its progress, and sometimes for just a moment I feel a flicker of hope before the agony of the night engulfs me again. My God. Finally, I hear him whisper that the sun is rising. I open my eyes and find the stars fading in the pale light of dawn. I can see, too, how bloodless Peeta's face has become, how little time has left, how little time he has left, and I know I have to get him back to the capital. Still, no cannon has fired. I pressed my good ear against the horn, and it can just make out Kato's voice. I think he's closer now, Katniss. Can you shoot him? Peeta asks. If he's near the mouth, I may be able to take him out. It would be an act of mercy at this point. My last arrow is in your tourniquet, I say. Make it count. Oh my god, says Peeta, unzipping his jacket, letting me loose. So I free the arrow, tying the tourniquet back as tightly as my frozen fingers can manage. I rub my hands together, trying to regain circulation. When I crawl to the lip of the horn and hang over to the edge, I feel Peeta's hands grip me for support. It takes a few moments to find Cato in the dim light, in the blood. Then the raw hunk of meat that used to be my enemy. Fuck. That's crazy. The raw hunk of meat that used to be my enemy makes a sound. And I know where his mouth is, and I think the word he's trying to say is please. Pity, not vengeance, sends my arrow flying into his skull. Oh, God. Peeta pulls me back, bow in hand, quiver empty. Did you get him? He whispers. The cannon fires in answer. Then we won, Katniss, he says hollowly. Hooray for us, I get out, but there's no joy of victory in my voice. A hole opens in the plain, as if on cue, the remaining mutts bound into it, disappearing as the earth closes above them. We wait for the hovercraft to take Cato's remains, for the trumpets of victory that should follow, but nothing happens. Hey, I shouted in the air, what's going on? The only response is the chatter of waking birds. Maybe it's the body. Maybe we have to move away from it, says Peeta. I try to remember. Do you have to distance yourself from the dead tribute on the final kill? My brain is too muddled to be sure, but what else could be the reason for the delay? Okay, think you could make it to the lake? I asked. Think I better try, says Peeta. We inch down to the tail of the horn and fall to the ground. If the stiffness in my limbs is this bad, how can Peeta even move? I rise first, swinging and bending my arms and legs until I think I can help him up. Somehow we make it back to the lake. I scoop up a handful of the cold water for Peeta and bring a second to my lips. A mockingjay gives the long, low whistle, and tears of relief fill my eyes as the hovercraft appears and takes Cato's body away. Now they will take us. Now we can go home. But again, there's no response. What are they waiting for? Says Peeta weakly. Between the loss of the tourniquet and the effort it took to get to the lake, his wound has opened up again. Oh my fucking god. I don't know, I say. Whatever the holdup is, I can't watch him lose any more blood. I get up to find a stick, but almost immediately come across the arrow that bounced off Cato's body armor. It will do as well as the other arrow. As I stoop to pick it up, Caldeus Templesmith's voice booms into the arena. Greetings to the final contestants of the 74th Hunger Games. The earlier revision has been revoked. Closer examination of the rulebook has disclosed that only one winner may be allowed, he says. Good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor. This guy. There's a small burst of static and then notice nothing more. I stare at Peeta in disbelief as the truth sinks in. They never intended to let us both live. This has all been devised by the game makers to guarantee the most dramatic showdown in history, and like a fool, I bought into it. If you think about it, it's not that surprising, he says softly. I watch as he painfully makes it to his feet. Then he's moving towards me as if in slow motion. His hand is pulling the knife from his belt. Before I'm even aware of my actions, my bow is loaded with an arrow pointed straight at his heart. Peter raises his eyebrows, and I see the knife has already left his hand on its way to the lake where it splashed in the water. I drop my weapons and take a step back, my face burning in what can only be shame. No, he says, do it. Peter limps towards me and thrusts the weapons back in my hand. I can't, I say, I won't. Do it before they send those mutts back or something. I don't want to die like Cato, he says. Then you shoot me, I say furiously, shoving the weapon back at him. You shoot me and go home and live with it. And as I say it, I know death right here, right now, would be the easier of the two. You know I can't, Peter says, discarding the weapons. Fine, I'll go first anyway. He leans down and rips the bandage off his leg, eliminating the final barrier between his blood and the earth. No, you can't kill yourself, I say. I'm on my knees, desperately plastering the bandage back onto his wound. Katniss, he says, it's what I want. You're not leaving me alone, I say, because if he dies, I'll never go home. Not really. I'll spend the rest of my life in this arena trying to think my way out. Listen, he says, pulling me to my feet. We both know that they have to have a victor. It can only be one of us. Please take it from me. And he goes on about how he loves me, what life would be without me, but I've stopped listening because his previous words are trapped in my head, thrashing desperately around. We both know they have to have a victor. Oh. Yes, they have to have a victor. Without a victor, the whole thing would blow up in the game makers' faces. They'd have failed the Capitol, might possibly even be executed slowly and painfully while the cameras broadcast it every screen in the country. If Pete and I were both to die, or they thought we were, my fingers fumble with the pouch in my belt, freeing it. Peter sees it, and his hands clamps onto my wrist. No, I won't let you. Trust me, I whisper. He holds my gaze for a long moment, then lets me go. I loosen the top of the pouch and pour a few spoonfuls of berries into his palms. Then I fill my own. On the count of 3. Peter leans down and kisses me once, very gently. The count of 3, he says. We stand, our backs pressed together, our empty hands locked tight. Hold them out. I want everyone to see, he says. I spread my fingers, and the dark berries glisten in the sun. I give Peter's hand one last squeeze as a signal, as a goodbye, and we begin counting. 1, maybe I'm wrong. 2, maybe they don't care if we both die. 3. Too late to change my mind. I lift my hand to my mouth, taking one last look at the world. The berries have just passed my lips when the trumpets begin to blare. The frantic voice of Claudius Templesmith shout above them, "Stop, stop! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to present the victors of the 74th Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen and Peeta Mellark. I give you the tributes of District 12. Hell yeah. They fucking win. Okay, let's continue the dramatization now.
Eating dogs?
Yep.
Oh, great. Okay. How about you give them like some huge like nuts? Yeah.
Yeah, I can make big things.
If you make them have like sick action music that plays like when they're running around, hip hop music.
Oh, okay. Hip hop action music. District 7's gonna love that.
Where's the sun? Isn't it like early afternoon?
You must be in a hurry to end the games.
What was that?
The finale.
Why, Ayada?
Shoot! Kill me. You'd win. One shot. That's what they want? That's what they always want, huh? Didn't know that till now. That's the way it's always been. I get this one kill. I can do this. Bring pride to my district. Nothing matters.
Guys, we're going back to one single victor, back to the classics, OG Hunger Games. I don't know what I was thinking, changing the rules on you guys. That was whack of me. Okay, I'm so sorry. But basically, that's the rule now. Okay, now get it. I said whack, and I was like, I don't know why
It's
I
fine.
said whack.
It's fine. Just shoot. Just shoot me out. I already know I'm out. It's fine. Just shoot. Just shoot me.
No.
Uh-oh.
Do you trust me?
You do it. Katniss, no.
Why should they have their victor? 3.
Well, okay, hang on. Let me at least even it out here.
Three.
Are you doing on one after one?
I'll do 3, 2, 1.
Wait, do like a
Okay. Don't. Okay. I'm not gonna eat this one. Don't eat
Okay,
this one.
This is
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
okay. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
3, 2.
Okay, really? That's the pace? That was nothing like the test run.
Okay.
All right. This is TV, right?
3, 2. One.
Stop!
Alright, sick. So we're on chapter 26 and at 27. I spew the berries from my mouth, wiping my tongue with the end of my shirt to make sure no juice remains. Peeta pulls me to the lake where we both flush our mouths with water and then collapse into each other's arms. You didn't swallow any, I asked him. He shakes his head. You? I guess I'd be dead by now if I did. I can see his lips moving in reply, but I can't hear him over the roar of the crowd at the Capitol that they're playing live over the speakers. The hovercraft materializes overhead and 2 ladders drop. Only there's no way I'm letting go of Peeta. I keep one arm around him so I keep him up, and we each place a foot on the first rung of the ladder. The electric current freezes in place, and this time I'm glad because I'm not really sure Peeta can hang on for the whole ride. And since my eyes were looking down, I can see that while our muscles are immobile, nothing is preventing the blood from draining out of Peeta's leg. Sure enough, the minute the door closes behind us and the current stops, he slumps to the floor unconscious. My fingers are still gripping the back of his jacket so tightly that they take him away in tears. My fingers are still gripping the back of his jacket so tightly that when they take him away, it tears, leaving me with 2 fistfuls of black fabric. Doctors in sterile white, masked and gloved, already prepped to operate, go into action. Peeta's so pale and still on a silver table, tubes and wires springing out of him every which way, and for a moment I forget we're out of the games, and I see the doctors as just one more threat, one more pack of mutts designed to kill him. Petrified, I lunge for him, but I'm caught and thrust back into another room, and a glass door seals between us. I pound on the glass, screaming my head off. Everyone ignores me except for some Capitol attendants who appears behind me and offers me a beverage. I slump down on the floor, my face against the door, staring uncomprehensively at the crystal glass in my hand, ice cold, filled with orange juice, a straw with a fruity white collar. How wrong it looks in my bloody filled my bloody, filthy hand with its dirt-caked nails and scars. My mouth waters at the smell, but I place it carefully on the floor, not trusting anything so clean and pretty. Through the glass, I see the doctors working feverishly on PETA, their brows creased in concentration. I see the flow of liquids pumping through the tubes, watch a wall of dials and lights that mean nothing to me. I'm not sure, but I think his heart stops twice. Jesus. It's like being home again when they bring in the hopelessly mangled person from the mine explosion, or the woman in her third day of labor, or the famished child struggling against pneumonia, and my mother and Pren. They wear that same look on their faces. Now is the time to run away in the woods, to hide in the trees until the patient... Turn in the page. The patient is long gone, and in another part of the seam, the hammers make the coffin. But I'm held here both by the hovercraft walls and the same force that holds the loved ones of the dying. How often I've seen them ringed around our kitchen table, and I thought, why don't they leave? Why do they stay to watch? And now I know, because you have no choice. I startle when I catch someone staring at me from only a few inches away from, and then realize it's my own face reflection. Back in the glass. Wild eyes, hollow cheeks, my hair in a tangled mat, rabid, feral, mad. No wonder everyone is keeping a safe distance from me. The next thing I know, we've landed back on the roof of the training center and they're taking PETA, but leaving me behind the door. I start hurling myself against the glass, shrieking, and I think I just catch a glimpse of pink hair. It must be Effie. It has to be Effie coming to my rescue, when the needle jabs me from behind. When I wake, I'm afraid to move at first. The entire ceiling glows with a soft yellow light, allowing me to see that I'm in a room containing just my bed. No doors, no windows are visible. The air smells of something sharp and antiseptic. My right arm has several tubes that extend into the wall behind me. I'm naked, but the bedclothes are soothing against my skin. I tentatively lift my left hand above the cover. Not only has it been scrubbed clean, the nails are filed in perfect ovals. The scars from my burns are less prominent. I touch my cheek, my lips, the puckered scar above my eyebrow, and am just running my fingers through my silken hair when I freeze. Apprehensively, I ruffle the hair by my left ear. No, it was an illusion. I can hear again. Ooh. I try and sit up, but some sort of wide, restraining band around my waist keeps me from rising more than a few inches. The physical confinement makes me panic, and I'm trying to pull myself up and wriggle my hips through the band when a portion of the wall slides open, and in steps the red-headed Avox girl carrying a tray. The sight of her calms me, and I stop trying to escape. I want to ask her a million questions, but I'm afraid any familiarity would cause her harm. Obviously, I am being closely monitored. She sets the tray across my thighs and presses something that raises me to a sitting position. While she adjusts my pillows, I risk one question. I say it out loud, as clearly as my rusty voice will allow, so nothing will seem secretive. Did PETA make it? She gives me a nod as she slips a spoon into my hand. I feel the pressure of friendship. I guess she did not wish me dead after all, and PETA has made it. Of course he did. With all their expensive equipment here, still I hadn't been sure until now. As the Avox leaves, the door closes noisily after her, and I turn hungrily to the tray. A bowl of clear broth, a small serving of applesauce, and a glass of water. This is it. I think grouchily. Shouldn't be my homecoming dinner be a little more spectacular? But I find it's an effort to finish the spare meal before me. My stomach seems to have shrunken to the size of a chestnut. And I have to wonder how long I've been out because I had no trouble eating a fairly sizable breakfast that last morning in the arena. There's usually a lag of a few days between the end of the competition and the presentation of the victors so that they can put the starving, wounded mess of a person back together again. Somewhere, Cinna and Portia will be creating our wardrobes for the public appearances. Haymitch and Effie will be arranging the banquet for our sponsors, reviewing the questions for our final interviews. Back home, District 12 is probably in chaos as they try to organize the homecoming celebrations for Peta and me, given that the last one was close to 30 years ago. Home, Prim and my mother, Gail. Even the thought of Prim's scruffy old cat makes me smile. Soon I'll be home. I want to get out of this bed to see Peta and Cinna to find out more about what's been going on and why shouldn't I? I feel fine, but as I start to work my way out of the band, I feel a cold liquid seeping into my vein from one of those tubes, and I almost immediately lose consciousness. This happens on and off for an indeterminate amount of time. My waking, eating, and even though I resist the impulse to try and escape the bed, being knocked out again. I seem to be in a strange, continual twilight. Only a few things register. The redhead Avox girl has not returned since the feeding. My scars are disappearing. Do I imagine it? Or do I hear a man's voice yelling? Not in the capital accent, but in the rougher cadence of home. And I can't help having a vague, comforting feeling that someone is looking out for me. Then finally, the time arrives when I come to, and there's nothing plugged into my arm. The restraint around my middle has been removed, and I'm free to move about. I start to sit, but am rested by the side of my hands. The skin's perfection, smooth and glowing. Not only are the scars from the arena gone, but those accumulated over years of hunting have vanished without a trace. My forehead feels like satin, and when I try to find the burn on my calf, there's nothing. I slip my legs out of bed, nervous about how they will bear my weight. I find them strong and steady. Lying at the foot of the bed is an outfit that makes me flinch. It's what all of us tributes wore in the arena. I stare at it as it had teeth until I remember that, of course, this is what I will wear to greet my team. I'm dressed in less than a minute and fidgeting in front of the wall where I know there's a door, even if I can't see it, when suddenly it slides open. I step into a wide, deserted hall that appears to have no other doors on it, but it must. Behind one of them must be Peta. Now that I'm conscious and moving, I'm growing more and more anxious about him. He must be all right, or the Avox girl wouldn't have said so, but I need to see him for myself. Peta, I call out, since there's no one to ask. I hear my name in response, but it's not his voice. It's a voice that provokes first irritation and then eagerness. Effie. Oh, thank you for the likes, Nibbin. Big book makes you look tiny, hee hee. Yeah. I turn and see them all waiting in a big chamber at the end of the hall. Effie, Haymitch, and Cinna. My feet take off without hesitation. Maybe a victor should show more restraint, more superiority, especially when she knows this will be on tape. But I don't care. I run for them, and surprise even myself, I launch into Haymitch's arms first. When he whispers in my ear, "Nice job, sweetheart." It doesn't sound sarcastic. Effie's somewhat teary and keeps patting my hair and talking about how she told everyone we were pearls. Cinna just hugs me tight and doesn't say anything. Then I notice Portia is absent and get a bad feeling. Where's Portia? Is she with Peta? He is all right, isn't he? I mean, he's alive. I blurt out. He's fine. Only they want to do your reunion live on air at the ceremony, says Haymitch. Oh, that's all, I say. The awful moment of thinking Peta's dead again passes. I guess I'd want to see that myself. Go on with Cinna. He has to get you ready, says Haymitch. It's a relief to be alone with Cinna, to feel his protective arm around my shoulders as he guides me away from the cameras, down a few passages to an elevator that leads to a lobby of the training center. The hospital then is far underground, even beneath the gym where the tributes practiced trying knots and throwing spears. The windows of the lobby are darkened, and a handful of guards stand on duty. No one else is there to see us cross the tribute elevator. Our footsteps echo in the emptiness, and when we ride up to the 12th floor, the faces of all the tributes who will never return flash across my mind, and there's a heavy, tight place in my heart. When the elevator doors open, Venia, Flavius, and Octavia engulf me, talking so quickly and ecstatically I can't make out their words. The sentiment is clear, though. They are truly thrilled to see me. I am happy to see them, and I am happy to see them too, although not like I was to see Cinna. It's more in the way one might be glad to see an affectionate trio of pets at the end of a particularly difficult day. They sweep me into the dining room and I get a real meal, roast beef and peas and soft rolls, although my portions are still being strictly controlled, because when I ask for seconds, I'm refused. Damn. No, they don't want it all coming back up at the stage, says Octavia, but she secretly slips me an extra roll under the table to let me know she's on my side. We go back to my room and Cinna disappears for a while as the prep team gets me ready. Oh, they did a full body polish on you, says Flavius, enviously. Not a flaw left on your skin. But when I look at my naked body in the mirror, all I can see is how skinny I am. I mean, I'm sure I was worse when I came out of the arena, but I can easily count my ribs. They take care of the shower settings for me. They go to work on my hair, nails, and makeup when I'm done. They chatter so continuously that I barely have time to reply, which is good since I don't feel very talkative. It's funny, because even though they're rattling on about the games, it's all about where they were or what they were doing or how they felt when a specific event occurred. I was still in bed. I had just had my eyebrows dyed. I swear I nearly fainted. Everything is about them, not the dying boys and girls in the arena. We don't wallow around in the games this way in District 12. We grit our teeth and watch because we must, and try to get back to business as soon as possible when they're over. To keep from hating the prep team, I effectively tune out most of what they're saying. Cinna comes in with what appears to be an unassuming yellow dress across his arms. Have you given up the whole girl on fire thing? I ask. You tell me, he says, and slips it over my head. I immediately notice the padding over my breasts, adding curves that hunger has stolen from my body. My hands go to my chest and frown. Oh, that's rough. I know, says Cinna before I can object. But the game makers wanted to alter you surgically. Oh. Haymitch had a huge fight with them over it. This was the compromise. He stops me before I can look at my reflection. Wait, don't forget the shoes. Venia helps me into a pair of flat leather sandals, and I turn to the mirror. I am still the girl on fire. The sheer fabric softly glows. Even the slight movement in the air sends a ripple up my body. By comparison, the chariot costume seems garish. The interview dress too contrived. In this dress, I give the illusion of wearing candlelight. What do you think, Cinna? Asks. I think it's the best yet, I say. When I manage to pull my eyes away from the flickering fabric, I'm in something of a shock. My hair's loose, held back by a simple hairband. The makeup rounds and fills out the sharp angles of my face. A clear polish coats my nails. The sleeveless dress is gathered at my ribs, not my waist, largely estimating any help the padding would have given my figure. The hem falls just to my knees. Without heels, you can see my true stature. I look, very simply, like a girl, a young one, 14 at the most, innocent, harmless. Yet it is shocking that Cinna has pulled this off when you remember I've just won the games. This is a very calculated look. Nothing Cinna designs is arbitrary. I bite my lip trying to figure out his motivation. I thought it'd be something more sophisticated looking, I say. I thought PETA would like this better. He answers carefully. PETA? No, it's not about PETA. It's about the capital and the game makers and the audience. Although I do not yet understand Cinna's design, it is a reminder the games are not quite finished. And beneath his benign reply, I sense a warning of something he can't even mention in front of his own team. We take the elevator to the level where we trained. It's my life. If what Haymitch says is true, and he's got no reason to lie, I've never been in such a dangerous place in my life. It's so much worse than being hunted in the arena. There, I could only die. End of story. But out here, Prim, my mother, Gale, the people of District 12, everyone I care about back home could be punished if I can't pull off the girl-driven crazy by love scenario Haymitch has suggested. Fuck, man. So I still have a chance, though. Funny, in the arena, when I poured out those berries, I was only thinking of outsmarting the game makers, not how my actions would reflect on the capital. But the Hunger Games are their weapon, and you are not supposed to be able to defeat it. So now the capital will act as if they've been in control the whole time, as if they orchestrated the whole event, right down to the double suicide. But that will only work if I play along with them. And PETA will suffer too, if this goes wrong. But what was it Haymitch said when I asked if he had told PETA the situation? That he had to pretend to be desperately in love? Don't have to. He's already there. Already thinking ahead of me in the games again, and well aware of the dangers we're in. Or already desperately in love. I don't know. I haven't even begun to separate out my feelings about PETA. It's too complicated. What I did as a part of the games is opposed to what I did out of anger at the capital, or because of how it would be viewed back in District 12, or simply because it was the only decent thing to do, or what I did because I cared about him. Oh. These are questions to be unraveled back at home, in the peace and quiet of the woods when no one is watching. Not here with every eye on me. But I won't have that luxury for who knows how long. And right now, the most dangerous part of the Hunger Games is about to begin. Last chapter. Thank you for the 2,000 likes. Thank you. Last chapter. Chapter 27. The anthem booms in my ears, and then I hear Caesar Flickerman greeting the audience. Does he know how crucial it is to get every word right from now on? He must. He will want to help us. The crowd breaks into applause as the prep teams are presented. I imagine Flavius, Venia, and Octavia bouncing around and talking ridiculous, bobbing bows. It's a safe bet they're clueless. Then Effie's introduced. How long she's waited for this moment. I hope she's able to enjoy it because, as misguided as Effie can be, she has a very keen instinct about certain things and must be at least suspect we're in trouble. Portia and Cinna receive a huge cheers, of course. They've been brilliant, had a dazzling debut. I now understand Cinna's choice of dress for me tonight. I'll need to look as girlish and innocent as possible. Haymitch's appearance brings a round of stomping that goes on at least 5 minutes. Well, he's accomplished at first, keeping not only one but 2 tributes alive. What if he hadn't warned me in time? Would I have acted differently? Flaunted the moment with the berries in the capital's face? No, I don't think so. but it could easily have been a lot less convincing than I need to be now, right now, because I can feel the plate lifting me up to the stage. Blinding lights, the deafening roars, rattles, the metal under my feet. Then there's Peeta just a few yards away. He looks so clean and healthy and beautiful, I can hardly recognize him, but his smile is the same whether in mud or in the capital, and when I see it, I take about 3 steps and fling myself into his arms. He staggers back, almost losing his balance, and that's when I realize the slim metal contraption in his hand is some kind of cane. He writes himself, and we just cling to each other while the audience goes insane. He's kissing me, and all the time I'm thinking, do you know? Do you know how much danger we're in? After about 10 minutes of this, Caesar Flickerman taps on his shoulder to continue the show, and Peeta just pushes him aside without even glancing him. The audience goes berserk. Whether he knows it or not, Peeta is, as usual, playing the crowd exactly right. Alright, good night, dude. Alright, you have a good night. I'm almost finished with this. Finally, Haymitch interrupts us and gives us a good-natured shove towards the victor's chair. Usually this is a single ornate chair from which the winning tribute watches a film of the highlights of the games. But since there are 2 of us, the game makers have provided a plush red velvet couch. A small one. My mother would call it a love seat, I think. I sit so close to Peeta that I'm practically on his lap, but one look from Haymitch tells me it isn't enough. Kicking off my sandals, I took my feet to the side and leaned my head against Peeta's shoulder. His arm goes around me automatically, and I feel like I'm back in the cave, curled up against him, trying to keep warm. His shirt is made of the same yellow material as my dress, but Portia put him in long black pants. No sandals either, but a pair of sturdy black boots. He keeps solidly planted on the stage. I wish Cinna had given me a similar outfit. I feel so vulnerable in this flimsy dress, but I guess that was the point. Caesar Flickerman makes a few more jokes, and then it's time for the show. This will last exactly 3 hours and is required viewing for all of Panem. As the lights dim and the seal appears on the screen, I realize I'm unprepared for this. I do not want to watch my 22 fellow tributes to die. I saw enough of them die the first time. My heart starts pounding and I have a strong impulse to run. How have the other victors faced this alone? During the highlights, they periodically show the winner's reaction up on the box in the corner of the screen. I think back to earlier years. Some are triumphant, pumping their fists in the air, beating their chests. Most just seem stunned. All I know is that the only thing keeping me on this love seat is Peeta, his arm around my shoulder, his other hand claimed by both of mine. Of course, the previous victors didn't have the capital looking for a way to destroy them. Oh, man. Condensing several weeks into 3 hours is quite a feat, especially when you consider how many cameras were going at once. Whoever puts together the highlights has to choose what sort of story to tell. This year, for the first time, they tell a love story. I know Peeta and I won, but a disproportionate amount of time is spent on us, right from the beginning. I'm glad, though, because it supports the whole crazy in love thing that's my defense for defying the capital. Plus, it means we won't have as much time to linger over the deaths. The first half hour or so focuses on the pre-arena events. The reaping, the chariot ride through the capital, our training scores, and our interviews. There's this sort of upbeat soundtrack playing under it that makes it twice as awful because, of course, almost everyone on screen is dead. That's brutal. Once we're in the arena, there's detailed coverage of the bloodbath, and then the filmmakers basically alternate between shots of tributes dying and shots of us. Mostly Peeta, really. There's no question he's carrying this romance thing on his shoulders. Now I see what the audience saw. Now he misled the careers about me, stayed awake the entire night under the Tracker Jackers tree. fought Cato to let me escape, and even while he lay in the mud bank, whispered my name in his sleep. I seem heartless in comparison, dodging fireballs, dropping nests, and blowing up supplies, until I go hunting for Rue. They play her death in full, the spearing, my failed rescue attempt, my arrow through the boy from District 1's throat, Rue drawing her last breath in my arms, in the song. I get to sing every note of the song. Something inside me shuts down and I'm too numb to feel anything. It's like watching complete strangers in another Hunger Games. But I do notice they omit the part where I covered her in flowers. Right, because even that smacks of rebellion. Things pick up for me once they've announced the two tributes from the same district can live, and I shout out Peta's name, and then clap my hands over my mouth. If I've seemed indifferent to him earlier, I make it up for now by finding him, nursing him back to health, going to the feast for the medicine, and being very free with my kisses. Objectively, I can see the Mutts and Cato's death are as gruesome as ever, but again, I feel it happens to people I have never met. Damn. Okay. And then comes the moment with the berries. I can hear the audience hushing one another, not wanting to miss anything. A wave of gratitude to the filmmakers sweeps over me when they end not with the announcement of our victory, but with me pounding on the glass door of the Huffcraft, screaming Peta's name as they try to revive him. In terms of survival, it's my best moment all night. The anthem's playing yet again, and we rise as President Snow himself takes the stage, followed by a little girl carrying a cushion that holds the crown. There's just one crown, though, and you can hear the crowd's confusion, whose head will be placed on, until President Snow gives it a twist and it separates into two halves. He places the first around Peta's brow with a smile. He's still smiling when he settles the second on my head, but his eyes, just inches from mine, are as unforgiving as a snake's. That's when I know that even though both of us would have eaten the berries, I am to blame for having the idea. As the instigator, I'm the one to be punished. Much bowing and cheering follows. My arm is about to fall off from waving when Caesar Flickerman finally bids the audience good night, reminding them to tune in tomorrow for the final interviews, as if they had a choice. Peta and I are whisked to the president's mansion for the victory banquet, where we have a very little time to eat, as Capitol officials are particularly generous sponsors elbow one another out of the way as they try to get their picture with us. Face after beaming face flashes by, becoming increasingly intoxicated as the evening wears on. Occasionally I catch a glimpse of Haymitch, which is reassuring, or President Snow, which is terrifying, but I keep laughing and thanking people and smiling as my picture is taken. The only thing I never do is let go Peta's hand. The sun is just peeking over the horizon when we straggle back to the 12th floor of the training center. I think now I'll finally get a word alone with Peta, but Haymitch sends him off with Portia to get something fitted for the interview and personally escorts me to my door. Why can't I talk to him, I ask. Plenty of time for talk when we get home, says Haymitch. Go to bed, you're on area 2. Despite Haymitch's running interference, I'm determined to see Peta privately. After I toss and turn for hours, I slip into the hall. My first thought is to check the roof, but it's empty. Even the city streets far below are deserted after the celebration last night. I go back to bed for a while and then decide to go directly to his room. But when I try to turn the knob, I find my own bedroom door has been locked from the outside. I suspect Haymitch initially, but then there's more insidious fear that the Capitol may be monitoring and confining me. I've been unable to escape since the Hunger Games began, but this feels different, much more personal. This feels like I've been imprisoned for a crime and I'm waiting sentencing. I quickly get back in bed and pretend to sleep until Effie Trinket comes to alert me to the start of another big day. I have about 5 minutes to eat a bowl of hot grain and stew before the prep team descends. All I have to say is the crowd loved me, or the crowd loved you, and it's unnecessary to speak for the next couple of hours. When Cinna comes in, he shoos them out and dresses me in a white, gauzy dress and pink shoes. Then he personally adjusts my makeup until I seem to radiate a soft, rosy glow. We make idle chit-chat, but I'm afraid to ask him anything of real importance because of after the incident with the door. I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched constantly. Jeez, oh. The interview takes place right down the hall in the sitting room. A space has been cleared, and the love seat has been moved in and surrounded by vases of red and pink roses. There are only a handful of cameras to record the event. No live audience, at least. Caesar Flickerman gives me a warm hug when I come in. Congratulations, Katniss. How are you faring? Fine. Nervous about the interview, I say. Don't be. We're going to have a fabulous time, he says, giving my cheek a reassuring pat. I'm not going to talk about myself, I say. I'm not good at talking about myself. Nothing you say will be wrong, he says, and I think, oh, Caesar, if only that were true. But actually, President Snow may be arranging some sort of accident for me as we speak. Then Peeta's there looking handsome in red and white, pulling me off to the side. I hardly get to see you. Haymitch seems bent on keeping us apart. Haymitch is actually bent on keeping us alive, but there are too many ears listening, so I just say, yes, he's gotten very responsible lately. Well, there's just this, and we go home. Then we can't watch us all the time, says Peeta. Then he can't watch. I feel a sort of shiver run through me, and there's no time to analyze why, because they're ready for us. We sit somewhat formally on the love seat, but Caesar says, oh, go ahead and curl up next to him if you want. It looked very sweet. So I tuck my feet up, and Peeta pulls me in close to him. Someone counts backwards, and just like that, we're being broadcast live to the entire country. Caesar Flickerman is wonderful, teasing, joking, getting choked up when the occasion presents itself. He and Peeta already have the report they established that night of the first interview, that easy banter, so I just smile a lot and try to speak a little as possible. I mean, I have to talk some, but as soon as I can, I redirect the conversation back to Peeta. Eventually, though, Caesar begins to pose questions that insist on fuller answers. Well, Peeta, we know from our days in the cave that it was love at first sight for you from what, age 5? Caesar says. From the moment I laid eyes on her, says Peeta. But Katniss, what a ride for you. I think the real excitement for the audience was watching you fall for him. Oh. When did you realize you were in love with him? Asked Caesar. Oh, that's a hard one. I give a faint, breathy laugh and look down at my hands. Help. Well, I know when it hit me. The night when you shouted out his name from that tree, says Caesar. Thank you, Caesar, I think. And then go with his idea. Yes, I guess that was it. I mean, until that point, I just tried not to think about what my feelings might be, honestly, because it was so confusing, and it only made things worse if I actually cared about him. But then, in the tree, everything changed, I say. Why do you think that was? Urges Caesar. Maybe because for the first time, there was a chance I could keep him, I say. Behind a cameraman, I see Haymitch give a sort of huff with a relief, and I know I've said the right thing. Caesar pulls out a handkerchief and has to take a moment because he's so moved. I can feel Peeta press his forehead into a temple, and he asks, so now that you've got me, what are you going to do with me? Oh. I turn to him. Put you somewhere you can't get hurt. And when he kisses me, people in the room actually sigh. For Caesar, this is a natural place to segue into all the ways we did to get hurt in the arena, from the burns to stings to wounds. But it's not until we get around to the mutts that I forget I'm on camera, when Caesar asks PETA how his new leg is working out. New leg, I say. I can't help reach out and I can't help reaching out and pulling up the bottom of PETA's pants. Oh no, I whisper, taking in the metal and plastic device that has replaced his flesh. No one told you? Asks Caesar gently. I shake my head. I haven't had the chance, says PETA with a slight shrug. It's my fault, I say, because I used the tourniquet. Yes, it's your fault I'm alive, says PETA. He's right, says Caesar. He'd have bled to death for sure without it. I guess this is true, but I can't help feeling upset about it to the extent that I'm afraid I might cry, and then I remember everyone in the country is watching me, so I try to bury my face in PETA's shirt. It takes them a couple of minutes to coax me back out because it's better in the shirt, where no one can see me. And when I do come out, Caesar backs off, questioning me so I can recover. In fact, he pretty much leaves me alone until the berries come up. Katniss, I know you've had a shock, but I've got to ask, the moment when you pulled out those berries, what was going on in your head? He says. Uh-oh. I take a long pause before I answer, trying to collect my thoughts. This is the crucial moment where I either challenged the Capitol or went so crazy at the idea of losing PETA that I can't be held responsible for my actions. It seems to call for a big dramatic speech, but all I can get out is one almost inaudible sentence. I don't know, I just couldn't bear the thought of being without him. PETA, anything to add? Asks Caesar. No, I think that goes for both of us, he says. Caesar signs off, and it's over. Everyone's laughing and crying and hugging, but I'm still not sure until I reach Haymitch. Okay, I whisper. Perfect, he answers. I go back to my room to collect a few things and find there's nothing to take but the Mockingjay pin Madge gave me. Someone returned it to my room after the games. They drive us through the streets in a car with blackened windows, and the train's waiting for us. We barely have time to say goodbye to Cinna and Portia, although we'll see them in a few months when we tour the districts for a round of victory ceremonies. It's the Capitol's way of reminding people that the Hunger Games never really go away. We'll be giving a lot of useless plaques, and everyone will have to pretend they love us. The train begins moving, and we're plunged into night until we clear the tunnel and I take my first free breath since the reaping. Effie is accompanying us back, and Haymitch too, of course. We eat an enormous dinner and settle into silence in front of the television to watch replay of the interview. With the Capitol growing farther away every second, I begin to think of home, of Prim and my mother, of Gale. I excuse myself to change out of my dress and into a plain shirt and pants. As I slowly, thoroughly wash the makeup from my face and put my hair in its braid, I began transforming back into myself. Katniss Everdeen, a girl who lives in the seam, hunts in the woods, trades in the hob. I stare in the mirror as I try to remember who I am and who I am not. By the time I join the others, the pressure of PETA's arm around my shoulders feel alien. When the train makes a brief stop for fuel, we're allowed to go outside for some fresh air. There's no longer any need to guard us. PETA and I walk down along the track, hand in hand. I can't find anything to say now that we're alone. He stops to gather a bunch of wildflowers for me. When he presents them, I work hard to look pleased, because you can't know that the pink and white flowers are the tops of wild onions and only remind me of the hours I've spent gathering them with Gale. Gale. The idea of seeing Gale in a matter of hours makes my stomach churn, but why? Can't quite frame it in my mind. I only know that I feel like I've been lying to someone who trusts me, or more accurately, to two people. I've been getting away with it up to this point because of the games, but there will be no games to hide behind back home. What's wrong? PETA asks. Nothing, I answer. We continue walking past the end of the train, out where even I'm fairly sure there are no cameras hidden in the scrubby bushes along the track. Still no words come. Hamish startles me when he lays a hand on my back. Even now, in the middle of nowhere, he keeps his voice down. Great job, you two. Just keep it up in the district until the cameras are gone. We should be okay, I watch. We should be okay. I watch him head back to the train, avoiding Peeta's eyes. What's he mean? Peeta asks. It's the capital. They didn't like our stunt with the berries, I blurt out. What? What are you talking about? He says. Seems too rebellious, so Hamish has been coaching me through the last few days, so I didn't make it worse. I say. Coaching you? But not me, says Peeta. He knew you were smart enough to get it right, I say. I don't know there was anything to get right, says Peeta. So what you're trying to say is these last few days, and then I guess back in the arena, that was just some strategy you two worked out? No, I mean I couldn't even talk to him in the arena, could I? I stammered. But you knew what he wanted you to do, didn't you? Says Peeta. I bite my lip. Katniss? He drops my hand and take a step as if to catch my balance. It was all for the games, Peeta says. How you acted. Not all of it, I say, tightly holding on to the flowers. Then how much? No, forget that. I guess the real question is what's going to be left when we get home, he says. I don't know. The closer we get to District 12, the more confused I get, I say. He waits for further explanation, but none's forthcoming. Messy. Well, let me know when you work it out, he says, and the pain in his voice is palpable. Oof. I know my ears are healed because even with the rumble of the engine, I can hear every step he takes back to the train. By the time I've climbed aboard, Peeta has disappeared into his room for the night. I don't see him the next morning either. In fact, the next time he turns up, we're pulling into District 12. He gives me a nod, his face expressionless. Oh no. I want to tell him that he's not being fair, that we were strangers. That I did what I took to stay alive, to keep us both alive in the arena. That I can't explain how things are with Gale because I don't know myself. That it's no good loving me because I'm never going to get married anyway, and he'd just end up hating me later instead of sooner. That if I do have feelings for him, it doesn't matter because I'll never be able to afford the kind of love that leads to a family, to children. And how can he? How can he after what we've been through? I also want to tell him how much I already miss him, but that wouldn't be fair on my part. So we just stand there silently, watching our grimly little station rise up around us. Through the window, I can see the platforms thick with cameras. Everyone will be eagerly watching our homecoming. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Peeta extended his hand. I look at him unsure. One more time for the audience, he says. His voice isn't angry. It's hollow. Which is worse. Already the boy with the bread is slipping away from me. I take his hand, hold on tightly, preparing for the cameras and dreading the moment when I finally have to let go. End of book 1. Let's finish the dramatization.
Ladies and gentlemen, your victors for the 74th Annual Hunger Games.
Together we killed a lot of people.
Right here, 12.
You and I did this equally together.
You camouflage yourself. I actually killed people. This is gonna be really hard for me to readjust
took care
into
of each other equally.
society. Trying to take this fucking thing off. Jesus Christ.
I'm proud of both of us. How do we get out of here?
How do we get out of here?
Oh, am I getting promoted? Is this what? It's the big promotion, the big 3-year promotion. Oh, let's get. Oh, that's. Okay, that's unsettling. That's not good. All right, and it's a Frank.
Oh yeah, they didn't show this in the
Come
book. They didn't
on,
explain this in the
man.
book.
Really? The suicide berries? Alright, well, I'm gonna eat freaking all of them. When I die, it's gonna be pretty messy.
Yeah, Katniss! Yes!
Maker's boy. I can't get enough of you, Maker's boy. Oh, you already got your crown. You're funny. I like that about you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Didn't really do anything, TBH.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, what a lovely pin.
Thanks. It's from my district.
Yes. They must be very proud of you. Oh!
Oh.
Oh! Oh!
Is he okay?
Nothing. Nothing is awry.
What, catnip?
That's my sister!
It's like catnip.
Catnip!
Nice. Shout out to Hungry Games but better. Okay. Well, that was book 1. Sometime down the road we will start Catching Fire. But for now, we're gonna have my little buddy here, boop, turn off the TV, and then just wheel him out of here. Yep, get him out of here. Alrighty. Well, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate everyone stopping by and checking out the stream and everything. I'll have to see what I'm doing tomorrow after work. My voice is a little shot now. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. We'll do Catching Fire sometime down the road. And then tomorrow we can probably continue Old World Blues as per the usual. Oh, thank you, Nubin, for the dolphins. Thank you. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Love you guys, and I'll see you. Bye.